being famous is great, but like, ugh. And yes, no one will ever finish Berserk, because I'm sure that motherfucker didn't have story notes.
No, did they fuck? They were on that boat for 5 years for a reason.
I now have 2 fans.
Wait. On a boat for 5 years?
Wait, you have 2 fans?
I just set up another one. This
Hey.
is
They went on a boat
nice.
trip and then the arc like stopped getting released for fucking like years. Probably more than
Yeah.
5 years actually.
Like, there was a huge amount of hiatus in Berserk where he was just, like, stuck on a boat.
I also had an ice cream sandwich, and that was nice.
Nice.
It's like, I assume Game of Thrones will never have a proper ending
My,
because George R. R. Martin's heart is gonna explode.
My Timmy's hot chocolate was meh.
Oh, that's your first mistake. You got hot chocolate.
Yeah, I couldn't find any. They only had donuts and coffee and hot chocolate. That was pretty much it.
That's
Can I
the
just
point of
say-
going to a Timmy's!
Can I just say, I've been listening to Avisa for a little bit now, and it must be amazing over there. She's got an ice cream sandwich. She's got 2 fans. I can hear the birds singing. She sounds so relaxed right now.
I am very zen right now.
I'm very jealous.
I've got chicken noodle soup. I've got throbbing pain in my jaw and orbital pain in my eye socket.
I have
I'm
And
sorry.
I have cider, some chocolate, and some wine.
I'll drink to that motherfucker.
Oh,
I've
and
got
that's another thing. My ear's not hurting.
Hey!
The antibiotics are working.
Fucking
got a cup of oolong tea and I've got a box fan. Also, I had a wisdom tooth taken out yesterday, so like I'm not like 100% today, but it's fine.
I keep forgetting that the bird song from outside my window is audible.
So can we ask the important question real quick to the group?
Huh.
Whose fault is it that we had a wild ride last week? I want to know what everyone thinks.
Yeah, we're taking a poll.
I mean,
Collective, all of us.
I'm required by law to say Bo.
and I'm required by law to put my hand up and say, yeah. But this time it actually wasn't me.
No, in Bo's defense, he sat very quiet while the rest of the shit unfolded. So no, he was on the tail end of it.
The only shit I started last week was the fucking weekend at Bernie's, the dead guy.
No, we're just talking about it's like
believe.
to cause that topsy-turvy wild ride from the fucking main story quest is like either it's the RNG that Marcus rolled to get the guy dead in the alley, or it's the RNG Marcus rolled to get an NPC that just wanted to be loved.
Yeah.
The only person
that's
whose
fair.
fault it is not mine. I'm the only one that tried to keep shit on track.
No,
My-
Shanks did as well.
My
mean,
random tables.
I didn't plan to keep things on track, it just kind of ended up working out that way.
My random tables did me dirty, and I had to steer back into it as hard as
To be
possible.
fair, rolls
Because
last
if
week
I-
were fucking diabolical.
If I lost control of that skid, I was gonna flip the whole campaign.
I will turn this campaign around, we'll go back to Elturel right now, you fucks.
Why are we here? There's nothing here. Shut up. We're here
Shut
now.
up and sit in your crater, that's your story now, you fucks.
Stare into the crater and feel sad that you couldn't save anyone.
I think that overall it was just a collective attention span of fruit flies.
Snowball effect, that's what it
It was
was.
great. Like, no, and it's one of those things where I had that self-conscious moment where I was like, basically all of this is just me fucking making shit up as I go along and trying to steer back into my game prep, and it was just like getting further and further out of hand, where Hillary's like, alright, Ray, now you have to find a date for tonight. And I was just like, why are you doing this?
Why are you like this? Autistic screeching in the backseat, like, date
Like,
time.
nah, you handled that shit like a champ.
Oh my god. It was great.
Nah,
It was
laid
great.
on pretty fucking thick, and you guys all got that.
I'm fucking diabetes for that, but man.
Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Right,
But
so,
yeah,
are
we
good?
all settled in. Is the camera on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yeah, then I think we've pretty much mostly all remember what happened last time. There was a whole rat situation, and you weekended Bernie's body into the inn, and then you went back to where you found that murder victim, and Vert made a good attempt at investigating the area and determined that it was some sort of like sniper assassin who was coming and going from the sewers, and the rats confirmed that this assassin was their master. The victim was like wearing Flaming Fist colors and is in some way related to that mercenary army that serves as like City Watch. And in the course of questioning locals in the area, Lucina met a very large mountain of a man named Kragor, who was a bit of a sad sack, who just wanted someone nice to go to dinner with him, which then perpetuated into Lucina telling Ray that Ray had to find someone to go on a date with so that they could double date, and you met a fortune teller woman by the name of Angeles, who I have literally just face cast as the woman from Hunchback
Isabella,
of Notre Dame in
or
my
Isabel
head
or
now.
something.
Esmeralda?
Esmeralda, yeah, you're right.
Damn. Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Get it, Cass?
Fucking go, Ray.
But I don't want to.
Fucking shut up.
It's not about what you want anymore. Right? You've got to do this for the team.
I already made Mom really sad, okay?
Yes, you made Mom cry, so you have to do this for Mom.
Now, while all of this was happening, in the background, Bo Sing Ba had slipped away to go find a gambling opportunity because he wanted to test his luck against Timora once again, and he found a very like snooty noble who had been kicked out of a card game, and so he was able to con said noble into granting Bo his invitation, and somehow, despite everything, Timora smiled on the halfling, and he was not identified as Bo Sing Ba, one of the most notorious, like, debt skippers in Baldur's Gate, and was able to play this game of cards with these mobsters in a basement for several hours, in which he learned that there was apparently some sort of assassination plot that is being hatched in the city against Duke Dillard Portier, who all of you have been working for the last several sessions, which is perhaps somewhat concerning. Also, I believe you made a little bit of gold in the process.
Yep.
But not too much to make it clear that you were cheating.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know that bit in The Incredibles where like the son is running in the race and the parents are like, yeah,
Yeah.
ooh.
That's it.
So
Not too
yeah.
quick. Not too quick. So no, right, yeah.
Yeah, and then in the meanwhile, Siani and Rhea journeyed across town to Insight Park, where they met the aged druid who grew the park overnight and planted the mystical drawing tree, the breed of which no one is entirely certain of. And the druid suggested that perhaps Siani might like to ask the tree for guidance, and the tree provided the two of them with the image of an angelic woman bound in chains attempting to escape from the fiery furnace by reaching up towards a sharp-looking sword that hangs in the air above her, and the chains like straining and snapping slightly as they attempt to resist her drive to retrieve the weapon. And when questioned on what it means, the druid simply said he had no idea, but the
Sorry.
tree never shows people something that's not important. And from there, I believe everybody was reconvening at the Elf Song Tavern to, you know, share the information that you had garnered in the meantime, and also Lucina and Ray have dates to go on.
Yay.
So, I think the shot of the episode after the previously on opens with like a wide framing of like the tap room of the Elf Song Tavern, right? There's the kind of like stuffed silver dragon head above the mantle of the fireplace. There's like old adventuring artifacts that are hung on like hooks and placards on the walls. The wait staff is like dutifully moving around, chatting with the usual patrons and taking, orders and delivering drinks and generally like keeping a good like low key murmur of activity going on in the background. That bard that Ray had his the old duel with is like standing off by the fireplace, like playing a little bit of like background tavern music wave. And yeah, I assume that like Ray and Lucina and well, I guess Vert, you were with them, probably like returned to the tavern like relatively soon after making arrangements for the evening, or am I reading this wrong? Were you still gonna kick around in that alley for a little bit longer?
Who? Sorry,
Sorry, I was eating a Reese's.
Yeah, I was directed like you and Lucina and Vert were the three that were still like
yeah,
in
no,
that alley
we
talking to
obviously.
people.
Well, I personally, I go back to the tavern and.
Sure. I assumed you were headed back to the tavern.
Yeah.
I just didn't I didn't want to speak for you too broadly, right? So
Yeah, sorry, I
Oh,
was sorting something out.
no, that's
I'll head back with Ray too.
fine. Okay.
I
And
like
then
to imagine
right.
this. I like to imagine this little walk is just like really awkward silence with Mom going, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry."
Yep, pretty
Right.
much.
And so yeah, so we get that, and then we're back to and what was it like? Vert was gonna have to like scale up the outside of the inn or whatever to get into your rooms so
Get
that
his
people
rat
didn't
friends.
notice his rat friends again.
Yes, I'm gargoyling up the side of the thing.
Right. Okay.
Well, no, that's not true. First, I'm going to stare creepily into the tavern window where everyone is sitting, because I'm assuming Ray and Lucina are going back, maybe sitting down for a second, and then all
Yeah.
they see is Veert's like be-antlered head, and then surrounded by swarming rats.
I'm just
Jesus.
imagining you doing the full-on Bond villain, like yes, just
Mhm.
patting the rat head.
You're just stroking the one albino rat you've
Yes.
found.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Perfect.
Fucking creepifying monster. Cool. So yeah, I think we have you and Lucina then sitting at a table in the tavern. Are you going to treat this as a double date, or are you each going to get separate
Oh no,
tables?
it's definitely going to be a double date.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, then I think just for the sake of it, because we know that around the same time, like Bosingba is like still playing cards, and like Siani and Rhea are probably like taking their time walking back from like the other side of town, right? So we'll focus on you guys first, and you're seated at a table. I assume the waitstaff has brought you your choice of drinks. And yeah, like the first one to arrive is Kragor, which again I described him as being like 6'8" and like bald headed. He's got that kind of like broken nose of a person who has been in too many fist fights and is like kind of has that air of being as broad as he is tall, but not in like a portly way. Like it's like big stacks of like man beef, right? and he has like attempted as best he can to pour himself into his military dress uniform that doesn't quite fit as nicely as it used to when he was a younger man in the military. Because it is probably the nicest clothing that he owns. And he has walked in through the front door of the tavern and is holding like what appears in his big meaty fist to be a comically small bundle of flowers that he probably picked on his way over here.
Oh
Where the
my
fuck
God,
did he get
Kragor is-
flowers?
Kragor is just so fucking innocent.
Yeah, I love him.
I do too, but I can't stop laughing at the description.
Just the sight of him like squeezed into like a military outfit, like fucking... He's going to sit down in the back, it's going to explode.
Oh my God, Hun, do you know who this is? This is Bildo Treve.
Oh my God, it is!
You're right!
To be nice to Bill.
Oh no!
I'm going to be nice to him, but I lost it at stacks of mad meat.
Oh, now I feel so bad. This is literally Bildo Treve.
Yeah, and so this big thuggish looking bald soldier man with his kind of fucked up nose like looks around the room and he finally sees you because I think Lucina, you're probably the only tiefling in the bar at the moment. And like he very like shyly lifts his other like hand and kind of like does the little finger wave at you and then makes his way over to sit down at the table. And he's just like, I brought you these, and he just kind of like very like nervously extends his big like sausage fingered paw towards you with these like flowers in it. And like when I say flowers, I mean it's like wild violets and like daisies and shit that just like grow in like the green spaces of the city naturally. It's nothing that was like planted or cultivated specifically for this purpose.
Well, I will take the bouquet and say, thank you. I absolutely love wildflowers. How did you know?
Oh, I don't know. I thought it would be nice. And he just kind of like looks down at the table and he's got like both hands in his lap and he's just like, there's a bit of like flush on his cheeks. Because I think it's very funny to make a shy boy out of what should clearly be a violent barbarian man.
There's no need to be so shy. How about we get you a drink?
Like,
What would you like?
and he kind of like looks at you and then he looks at Ray and it's like he's trying to determine like what you guys have already ordered for drinks to determine if he should be ordering like hard alcohol or just like an ale, right? Like because when you met him in the alley he was like kind of hungover and a little drunk and he seems to have done his best to kind of like sober himself up in the meantime.
Well,
So I don't know. What are you drinking, Ray?
Oh, I'm just drinking the ale, as per the usual fucking...
Sure. And obviously, Mom's got a tea, right? Like,
Yeah.
do they make cocktails at this bar?
A Long Island.
I'm sure they could try.
Okay, then it's probably a cocktail made with tea then.
Okay, yeah, it's a real touristy, trappy kind of bar, so they probably do cocktails. So yeah, he kind of looks between, and like he's not sure what you're drinking, Lucina. It's a little too fancy for him, but he knows what an ale looks like. So he's just like, yeah, I'll just have an ale. I think that's a good place to start. And he kind of like looks to you after saying that to you, Lucina. He looks at you, Ray, and he's just like, so you her friend, or you just waiting for somebody? Like he doesn't like the double date part of it. He clearly wasn't clued in on, so he's a little confused.
like, oh no, we're work colleagues, and I lined something up tonight, and you know, she didn't want to be alone because these things can be quite scary. She's quite timid, and I like to look out for her. So yeah, I said why not?
Besides, doesn't a double date sound like fun? You get to spend time with more people that way.
Oh, and he's like, double date. Yeah. He's just kind of like, oh, thank God, kind of like,
Oh no,
you know,
Maya roll
He's too
stealth for her.
pure for this world.
Amaya is trying to sneak into the tavern, probably.
Yes, I am. I don't want to interrupt the roleplay, so just whatever you get around to it.
So, is this for you to sneak back into the building, or are you trying to gargoyle your way into the tap room to watch?
I want to be in the tap room. I want to sneak up behind this guy and just say, "She'll never love you."
Fucking monster!
And, but then like totally peace out, like nobody sees me. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Cruelty!
You're
Jesus,
a
you know
fucking
Mom's gonna see you. She'll know.
Yeah. You don't pass with your stealth with my passive perception. So.
Like
Okay.
her passive perception is higher than that.
Oh geez. Okay. Well, in that case, seeing Mom's angry stare at me creeping up, I will instead say, "Ask her about tea."
He kind of like turns when he hears the voice coming from behind. Have you like disappeared back into the
Yes,
shadows?
disappeared back into the shadows.
Yes, he's just like, I swear I just heard a voice tell me that I should ask you about tea. And he kind of like turns and looks back at you, Lucina. Like he's a little confused and just kind of like rubbing the back of his head. Like I heard this tavern was haunted, but I didn't know it just randomly gave people dating advice.
Yes, actually, the ghost of the tavern is quite helpful in that aspect, as I'm shooting death glare at Veer sulking away. And I will go on a long diatribe about the wonders of all the different blends of tea and their benefits and how long you should brew each one and what kind of, cocktails you can make with them because, bourbon goes really well with tea.
Yeah, so to stick with kind of like the Bill Dauterive sort of like you start talking about tea, right? And obviously like Lucina has a passion for it. So you see like Kragor kind of like lean forward and put both elbows on the table and kind of like rest his chin in his hands and he's just like staring at you and just like smiling and listening to everything that you have to say as you just continue with your TED talk about the virtue of bourbon and tea. He's such a good guy.
He is. I can't take this. I'm gonna end up dating this guy because I'm gonna feel too bad breaking his heart.
How do you think she married me, guys?
Because you have no
But yeah,
heart
so-
to break.
So while that happens, the door opens again. We hear the tinkling of the bell, and in blows Angeles, the woman that Ray you met in the alley, who has that kind of like very bouncy like hair and that kind of like slightly olive skin tone of Esmeralda from the Hunchback of Notre Dame. The kind of like brightly colored like cloth in her hair as like a head wrap, like headband sort of situation, and a very clear like Romany inspired like dress. And she's got that kind of like pronounced sachet to her step that we already established when you met her in the alley. And she just kind of like again glances around the room, sees the three of you already at the table, and just like sweeps through the room with the agility of like a well-trained dancer and slips into the chair across the table from you. And she's just like, well, despite your performance in the alley, I wasn't sure if you were going to show up or not.
And I just take a swig of my flagon and stand up and just, well, you'd be surprised. When I say I want to do things, I follow through. Just ask my companion here. I made some terrible mistakes in my time.
Ooh.
Wait for it.
Oh, did you
Okay,
just
that's still
call her
probably
a
good enough.
mistake?
That's still
No.
probably good enough.
I was trying to say that I make terrible mistakes. Like,
Going on a double date.
exactly.
Ooh, ooh, the best opener.
Hopefully, her perception is not that good, so I just want to sneak up and say, so many mistakes.
I think she just kind of like she probably hears you behind her and it doesn't, unlike Kragor, she doesn't like flinch or seem at all like put off by hearing a weird like whispering voice coming from behind, and she's just like focused forward on you, Ray, and you, Lucina, just like all smiles and kind of like has this light, airy giggle when you talk about like so many mistakes, and she turns her attention like very specifically to you, Lucina, and she kind of does that thing where she like reaches across the table, like, you know, if you want to like, you know, take her hand or whatever, she will understand as kind of like a gesture of moral support, and she's like, "It's so terrible when our friends are so bad at making good decisions, isn't it?"
I will take her hand and agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, and she gives your hand a little squeeze, and she laughs, and then she holds up a hand, and she like gets the attention of one of the servers, and she's just like, "Can I get 1 ale and 2 shots of whiskey, please?"
And now just butt in and say, haha, can I have the same? I'm almost done over here. And then I'll just like pull her seat back to say, have a seat.
Yeah, and she's just like, "So then, seem it's a double date then? I wasn't expecting to see Kragor here." And she kind of looks over at the gentleman sitting next to her on her side of the table, and Kragor like immediately like looks down and away, and his face is just like bright red.
Oh no. Oh, you two know each other.
And she's like, "Well, we are neighbors." And Kragor's just like, "Yeah, neighbors."
Can I insight check?
You so
Sure.
wisdom.
Oh,
Absolutely, you can.
oh,
Oh no.
Yeah, I think it's here's the thing. I don't think Kragor is a creep. I don't think
No,
he's been
probably
spying
just
on
had a
her.
crush on her or something.
But I do think he has a huge crush on
Yeah.
the exotic wandering like Romany lady, and like he has just not had it in him to ever say anything to her, right? Because like not to say that there isn't like a certain level of exoticism to Lucina either, but
A
like
very shy boy.
Lucina's like very nice and easy to talk to, whereas I feel like Angelides probably gives off this like unapproachable, like adventurous air, right?
I will turn to her and say, "How fortunate for you to live next to such a wonderful man. I'm sure you feel very safe having him as your neighbor."
And she nods and she's like, "Yes, Gregor does tend to keep an eye on things when he's not too deep in his cups." And she laughs at that, and again just like bright red face from barbarian man, and he's just like, "Well, the war was hard on people, you know," just kind of like trying to cover for himself.
War was hard on Kragor.
Yeah.
Also, Marcus, I have a new mission.
What is
Can
your
I-
new mission?
I'm assuming that there are like rafters in this room.
Yeah, sure.
Can I go Batman hang from a rafter?
Ratman, more like.
Yes. Can I just Ratman hang from a rafter, just like maybe right over the table?
You just want to perch in the rafters and try to stay hidden and observe the conversation?
Well, perch, yes. Stay hidden, yes. Observe, No, I'd like to do everything I can to ruin Ray's chances with this woman so that she goes to Cragor.
I didn't want the chances anyway. I got forced into this.
I love it. Please give me an acrobatics check to determine
Okay.
how well you are able to position
Oh,
yourself
no.
amidst the rafters of the building.
Oh no, acrobatics is so bad.
Yeah, but look at you.
Oh, holy
Look
shit.
at you, boy.
Listen, the gods want this, okay?
Yeah, Bashaba wants this.
The Shaba wants this.
Can I roll
She
perception
loves ruining
to
things.
see if I see him perching?
Yes,
Sure.
You will have to beat his 24 stealth.
Hang on, I need to reset. Roll 20 shitting itself.
That's fine.
Ah, you sneak by me. Good job.
Yeah. Oh, I think I even beat your passive perception. This is
Yeah,
how
you
it-
did. That's why I rolled.
This is
Yeah.
how important this is for me.
For the party, for
For
everyone.
the party, for everyone. Listen, I'm doing this
I'm
for us.
invested in Cragor and this chick getting together as well, man. Like
Mhm.
they're a good match. Do your thing, man.
Perception?
Yeah.
It's perception.
Oh god, it really is bugging him the fuck out. What the hell?
I mean, it rolled at least.
I'm gonna
For-
I'm gonna use inspiration.
All right.
You need all the
Are you
help.
serious?
Oh,
Fuck you!
I can roll again too. Hold on.
I wanted to do hand signals.
Oh.
Oh god,
Yeah.
hang on.
Mom sees you.
It's barely.
Roll 20 was giving me an epileptic fit. Oh my god.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, but beat it. What browser are you using?
I was using Opera. I always use Opera.
Huh.
Because then I can do stuff on Chrome.
Weird.
Apparently, getting it off from Maximize seems to have fixed it.
Well, that's. But yeah, okay. So like Hillary, you see Vert perched up in the rafters. Ray, you are less aware of the situation. You can do with this information as you please.
Okay.
Oh, Death Cleric.
I will gently nudge Ray with my knee and look up towards Veer as subtly as I can.
Okay. So yes, you are also aware then, Ray.
Okay. And
Big shit-eating grin.
I take a big swig of my ale and like, sort of stretch out like, ugh! And while I'm stretching, I want to say hand signals to Amaya, saying, "We need these two to fuck."
Okay. So
Bigger
Can I-
shit-eating grin.
can I get a sleight of hand check from you? Because I assume you're trying to send this signal without being noticed.
Yes. Oh, come on.
Yeah, all right.
Wow.
Again, the gods are on your side.
I mean, come on. My god is one of parties and revelry. So come on.
For sure. No, like you right. Like but yeah, so the waitress comes back, she sets the drinks in front of Angeles and the drinks in front of you, and she picks up the mug and takes a sip of her ale, and then picks up one of the shots, and then just like throws it straight back, flips the cup over, and sets it like neatly down on the tabletop. And then she kind of turns her head slightly to Cragor, and she's just like, huh, just ale for you then. And he kind of like stammers a little bit. And he's like, well, I didn't want to start too early. We haven't even had any food yet. And Lucina here was just telling me about these wonderful cocktails that are made with tea and bourbon. And, just kind of like attempting to repeat what you've said already, Lucina. Because, like, he was clearly listening, but he's having trouble, like, expressing the information as well as you did, because he's still very much the novice, right?
There's no shame in just drinking something light. I mean, drink whatever you want, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you feel good. Would you like to try
Yeah.
a tea cocktail? I think you might like it.
Yeah, and again, Angeles nods, and she's just like, ah, yes, my people are all about doing what feels best and not
Giggity.
being tied down by convention. And I certainly understand the allure of exotic teas as well.
Giggity.
Yeah, like she's
Okay.
she's given Lucina like the shit-eating grin, right?
Hold on,
But-
hold on. I'm googling shit. I have a retort. I just need to find it.
I have a meme for this. Hang on.
Am I misjudging the situation? But or is this bitch coming on to Lucina?
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering that too.
I think this bitch is coming on to everybody.
I mean, this could develop into an orgy, so. Okay. So she seems to be kind of a tea connoisseur, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Alright, then I am going to go up to the bar and order her a royal tea. It is an Earl Grey with a dry gin and a splash of lemon and a little bit of sweetener.
Oh, that sounds
And the
good.
reason I'm doing this is because Earl Grey has a very particular flavor profile that most people can't stand unless you've been drinking tea for a long time.
Love Earl
Nice.
Grey. Yeah, I do love Earl Grey. That cocktail sounds wonderful. So yeah, I think you probably have to like talk the bartender through getting the drink exactly the way you want it, because it's a little bit more like that would probably be more normal in our world, but in the Forgotten Realms that is probably a little exotic, right? And so he gets it right probably on the second try, and then presents you with the drink to take back to the table. And in the meantime, while that's happening, like Angeles turns her attention back to you, Ray, and she's just like, so, when we met in the alley, I did offer you a fortune telling. Interested?
And I'll just take another swig of the flagon and just say, oh, you did indeed. You know, I'd not be against that. How long have you been in the fortune telling business? Should I look to the side while you're doing it?
And she laughs and shakes her head, and like her, you know, she's got that kind of like slightly updo that kind of like bounces with the motion of her head, and she just laughs, and she's like, no, I've been doing this since I was a little girl. It's a thing that my people excel at, you understand. And as she's talking, she's like reaching into this little like hip bag that she has with her, and she's pulling out this like blue like satiny cloth with like golden fringe, and she's like unfolding it onto the table. And like in this little like blue cloth there is like a tarot deck that she is like taken up and is shuffling the cards in hand while she's just like staring at you, and she's like, sometimes we use tea leaves, sometimes we use bones, but I thought for you and your companions, you know, and the light kind of shuffling of the cards in the background as she moves her fingers deftly, I thought the cards would be best, so I brought them along just in case. And that's kind of the part that you re-enter the conversation on, Lucina.
I will watch her with great interest because I am curious.
And Kragor, for his part, is just like really just like focused in like on watching the display, right? Because like there's probably an extent to which you realize, just letting your earlier insight go, he's probably gone to her a couple of times to get his fortune told just so he can be in the same place as her, right? And so like he's very curious about like what the spread is going to say. And she's like, well, I suppose I can do the reading for both of you, since you're both here and you're friends, right? Connected on some level, if not romantically. And she kind of leaves a pause there to see how you
Wait.
respond.
Wait, Ray and Lucina?
Yeah, because they're sitting on the same side of the table, and she's not going to assume anything.
Well, if you think being colleagues is enough of a relationship, I don't see an issue with it. Do you, Ray?
Wait, what?
What?
You are peeking like a droid, all right? Like,
Beep
try
boop.
again.
Zoned!
What?
Ray just
Ray
got
You
friend
broke
zoned.
him
Just
Maya.
got friend zoned.
Yes, this is true.
It's okay. I didn't
Uh,
want this anyway. It's fine.
I don't want any of this. Yeah, and so she's just like, yes, well, as I said, you two were together in the alley, and you seem close enough. I think whatever the spirits want to say will likely apply equally to both of you. So, let's see what the gods will for you. And again, like, you're kind of up in the rafters looking down on this, so obviously you'll be able to hear this, and like the two of you are there. And she finishes shuffling the deck. What were you gonna say?
I want Ray's third card. Whatever the third card is she pulls, I want it.
I mean, you're gonna have to figure out how you're gonna get it.
I have rats.
But also, she's doing like it's going to be like more than just 3 cards, because like this is like Celtic cross style, right?
Oh. Google help.
Yeah, so she draws the first card off of the deck and places it in the center of this deep blue satin cloth. And she indicates the card, and she's like, this card represents your present position. And as she kind of like flips the face up, it is the 5 of Swords, which the card depicts a sly-looking man who is picking up swords off of the ground, and in the distance 2 men are walking away with slouched shoulders. 2 more swords are strewn across the grass, suggesting that a battle has been fought and lost, but the sky is cloudy and tumultuous, which is a sign that not all is well, even though the fighting has stopped. She remarks, upright, this card represents conflict, disagreement, defeat, but also perhaps the desire to win at all costs. And she kind of looks at both of you as she makes that pronouncement to see if there's any reaction.
Serene smile. No reaction whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Poker face of, interesting.
Yeah. She nods then, and she draws a second card from the deck, which is then laid across the first card lengthwise, and it's still face down, and she's like, this card represents the nature of the challenges ahead of you. She flips it face up. The card is the Hierophant, a high priest in their holy regalia sitting between 2 pillars of a sacred temple. Before them kneel 2 of their followers, and he raises one hand in a religious blessing. Upright, this card speaks to the power of religious belief, conformity, and tradition. The conflict that lies before you is perhaps divinely ordained, or it might be the work of some religious order who feel they're doing what they must. Again, she pauses to see if there's any response.
So I look to Lucina and say, oh, religious order. I wonder if they mean that guy boasting Ba and his cult of followers.
That very well could be. We'll have to keep an eye on that.
So what is your internal thought then, if not your external, right? Like,
Internal thoughts are, she's good.
well,
I mean, it's kind of hitting the nail on the head so far, so yeah, let's keep going.
yeah. So
Dreaming. Like,
she draws up the third card, which she places above the first in the array. and she indicates it and says, "This represents a goal, or perhaps the destiny of the petitioner. What you can hope to accomplish given the circumstances." She flips the card face up, and it is the Wheel of Fortune, but reversed. The image is that of the Great Wheel of the cosmology. The entire universe, as scholars understand it, laid out in diagram, and around the edges of the wheel, twin serpents bite at each other's tails, driving the wheel to spin forward forever. One is a black serpent and is understood to be Asmodeus, the Lord of Hell, and the other is a white serpent with rainbow-feathered wings who is understood to be Jaziran, the coatl deity of community, peace, and learning. She observes the card for a moment and says, "Ah, most likely your destiny, then." Reversed, the Wheel of Fortune is often considered to be an ill omen, a sign of bad luck.
Ha, ha, ha. That's my cue. I don't know what it is.
Eyebrow twitch. No other reaction. Just an eyebrow twitch.
I just give
But
a
it
hearty laugh of ha ha. Fate
You
is
know what?
definitely at play.
You know what? I'm sending down a rat. I want that card. I'm stealing that card right off the table. I want it.
But it could just as easily speak to the breaking of a cycle. Freedom from a process. Perhaps legal. Perhaps metaphysical. Or a change in the state of things. And yeah, as she says that, like, we see the rat, like, run up onto the table and grab for the card.
Yes.
So I turned to her sorry. I turned to her to take her attention away from the rat for a minute because I see it. I'm like, oh shit, I know what that is.
Right.
I'm like, oh, a change of things. You mean like our good friend here who really sobered up for this evening? You know, does he not look pretty great?
Yeah, and again,
Smooth, Ray.
big man, Kragor, like, bright red face, like, ale mug in hand, just, like, big meaty paws, like, tipping the cup back to try to hide as much of his features as he can. And then he starts coughing as he's, like, choking on his beer a little bit.
Like, yeah, Kragor, no, come on. Don't be shy. Come on, even a beautiful woman like this can see how lovely a face you have.
Yeah, he puts the mug down, broken nose, kind of slouched brow, and he kind of, like, gives you this confused look. And, like...
Can I try and persuade her to give her some kind of compliment?
Sure.
So I'll just like, so quick, stop, look at our friend here. Look just right into her eyes. Look at those amazing eyes and tell me, is she not beautiful? And I don't know, Esmeralda, I can't remember her fucking name.
Yeah.
You look straight into his eyes and tell me, is he not the softest man you've ever seen? All that emotion.
Yeah, give me a roll.
Squeak, squeaker, squeak, squeaking.
Yeah, so the two,
Damn.
the two of them look at one another then, and yeah, Kragor is like, you are really quite pretty, and then he just like eyes like straight down at the floor, right? Like just like brought down by the weight of his own like shyness, and she like lets out this kind of like a musical laugh and reaches over and places a hand like lightly on his shoulder, and she's like, "Oh, Kragor, when are you ever going to learn that it's not necessarily what's on the outside that matters?" And she just kind of like very gently like pats him on the back. Meanwhile, you notice that like her other hand, which was previously next to the deck, is like holding what appears to be like a chunk of stale bread, and she has drawn the rat away from the cards, and it's eating out of her hand.
Oh shit.
That bastard!
She's the fucking rat king calling it now.
I was just gonna say that.
She's only got one extra hand. Another rat!
You
And I
really want
summon
that?
Pot of Greed
I
in
really
defense
want that
mode.
card.
I mean, give me an animal handling check.
Oh shit, he's gonna attack with Pot of Greed!
I summon 2 more rats in attack mode.
Oh wow.
Oh, there you go, man. Fuck
What is
that.
with the
Animal
rolls
hand-
tonight? Holy shit!
Listen, animal handling is like my second best stat.
All right, so
Animal
yeah,
handling and insight.
you
Oh,
you
and survival.
send another rat like scurrying across the table, and this one is able to like grab the card up in its like mouth and carry it past on the table, and like the other rat like runs away from her hand, and she kind of like pulls the piece of bread back and like drops it on the floor behind her, hopefully before the rest of you notice, and she just kind of like arches an eyebrow and kind of looks at the table, and she's like, huh, it seems as though one of the cards has gone missing, but I think we remember what was in that position. We can go on if you would like.
Must have been fate for it to disappear.
And
Bad luck.
she laughs and she nods lightly, and she's like, yes, fate indeed.
So,
I petitioned Virt to name that particular rat Fate.
Mission granted.
But yeah, so she's like, well, where were we then? Ah, yes, the fourth card. And she pulls one from the deck, and it is placed to the right of the original card in the array. And she indicates its position, and she says, this speaks to the distant past. Major events and influences upon which your future is based. She flips the card face up, and it is the Ten of Cups, which depicts a loving couple which stands together, arms outstretched as their 2 children play nearby. They look towards their home on the hill, and a beautiful rainbow in the sky is filled with 10 chalices. Upright, this card speaks to divine love, the alignment of purpose, or harmony between individuals in the pursuit of their goals. Perhaps then your destiny is being shaped by an everlasting bond, or an enduring belief that everything will turn out okay if you just follow your dreams. And again, she leaves a pause in her reading for you to respond.
it's like, well, the only dreams I have are getting a good story about the places here and getting back home. Because, you know, our cover story was that we were journalists.
Right.
Yes, I have to agree with you there, Ray.
She
Baldur's
chuckles
Gate
slightly.
is definitely a breed of its own, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, it is the most unique place that I have settled recently. Perhaps
So-
not as interesting as my home, but I like it all the same.
And I'll just ask her how many more cards to tell her future.
Oh, there's 10 cards in this array, dear.
I see. And it's like, kind of annoying. I thought maybe it was going to be 5.
No, you're getting the full treatment here, my friend. Yeah, and she's like, well, since you're getting impatient, I'll try to make this quick. And she pulls the next card. The 5th card is placed below the 1st, and she indicates that it speaks to the more recent past, things which have only just happened, and shape the road ahead more clearly. She flips the card face up, and it's the 10 of Swords.
Okay.
This card speaks to betrayal, loss, crisis, but it can also represent deep wounds or painful endings.
Would I know how many cards are left based on what she's doing?
So this is the 5th, so there would be 5 more after this.
I swear to God, Lucina better not look
Would
up
I?
at me after she
What I'm
reads
saying
that
is,
card.
would I know? Like this is.
I mean, history, I guess, or religion, one of the
No,
two.
do you know what? It's more just like 5 seems like a good number. Forget that roll because
Alright.
it defeats the purpose. So I'm gonna go and do some of this, and I'm gonna create like a sort of branding underneath that's just red and glowy and like a sort of just a fancy symbol to appear underneath her card
Yeah.
to make it look really like some like just play it
You're-
up, basically.
You're adding to the ambiance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you see Kragor's eyes go wide because he's never seen anything quite like this happen before, because like you're obviously the one that's like subtly manipulating the visual, and he kind of just like excitedly looks to you, Lucina. He's like, look, magic.
Oh, look, magic. Oh.
Would you know what I'm doing?
I mean, I think there's probably like a knowing, like wry smile on the woman's face as she kind of like looks up at you through her lashes, seeing that you are manipulating the display a little bit. But Kragor has no fucking idea what's going on. Kragor only understands sword and beer.
Simple man.
Or Kragor.
Nothing wrong with that.
Also, I
will,
swear to
Oh, go ahead, Lucina.
I was just going to pat the back of Kragor's hand lightly and say, "It's quite an entertaining display, isn't it?"
And he nods and he's just like, yeah, every time she's done one of these fortune readings for me, it's been interesting, but it's never been anything quite so showy. And she kind of like cocks her head towards Kragor and you, and she's like, yes, it seems as though our two friends this evening have quite the destiny ahead of them.
So I turned to Kragor. I'm like, how many times have you had your fortune read, Kragor?
And he's like, and he kind of like he does that thing where he like clamps his mouth shut so quickly that you hear his teeth like audibly click. And like he's thinking about it, like he's doing math, and then he's like revising the number in his head because he doesn't want to like sound like he's desperate. And before he has a chance to answer, the fortune teller's just like, oh, I've seen him 12 times this month, I think.
Fucking hell, Kragor. How does he have money for the fucking alcohol? Holy shit.
And she shakes her head and she's like, oh, I don't tend to charge him very much because, like I said, he does keep our alleyway home safe from banditry most days.
Oh my.
Perfect. Fun.
Oh god, I'm not paying attention to the window. What did you put in chat?
They put it in the.
Did you put it in
Marcus
D&D
Gordon.
Marcus posting?
Oh, okay. Kragor trying to figure out how many times he's seen her. Yeah.
And I'll have a small giggle and say, oh, Kragor, you dog, you. Anytime. 12 times you wanted to see her. God, why have you not said anything to her yet? That's obviously why you're going.
And he's just like, shut up, man.
No. Come on, Kragor. Come on. This is a... I have only met you tonight, but I can tell that you're, And I sort of just get up from my chair, and I'm just like, you know, you're a big, strong guy. Who doesn't like big, strong guys that protect the weak, you know? Sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and say the things that you can't normally say.
Yes, you really should express your feelings, Kragor. I mean, you know, like, fuck, I forgot her name. Esmeralda. We're calling her
Yes.
Esmeralda.
Her name is Angeles.
Yeah, Esmeralda's better. Fuck it.
Angeles. Okay. If you have feelings for Angeles, why don't you express them?
Give me a persuade check with advantage. Either one of you can roll, but you're obviously helping each other.
get it ready.
Oh.
Unless Lucina's persuade is better.
My persuasion is 8.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and so like there's this kind of like, again, just the deep like flush like all the way up to his ears and like threatening to like encroach on his scalp as he's just like sinking lower and lower in his chair, which is comical because the chair he's sitting in is clearly too small for his frame, right? And he's just like, I'm not good at, and like somewhere in all of this, you once again hear Angelise's like musical laughter. And she's just like, come now, leave him alone, if just for a moment. He'll say what he needs to say in time, I'm sure. And it's at this point that he's just like, they're right, I do. And she's like, oh, Kragor, I know.
Oh.
And then he just
Poor Bill Tree.
and he's just like, wait, you know? And she's like, yes, of course I know. No one comes to a fortune teller so many times if they're not thinking about something else, and I do have a certain window into people's souls, shall we say.
I just give a heart giggle, like, Kragor, 'tis a fortune teller.
Yeah, and he just looks really confused, and he's like he doesn't understand like what that has to do with anything.
Oh, Kragor, you're too pure for this world.
And he's just like, well, if you knew, why didn't you say anything? And she's like, come now, I was waiting for you to say something because I thought you were the sort of person who had to make the first move. I mean, look at you, you're so big and aggressive. And he just kind of like,
seeing this, I'm gonna say, I'll be back in a minute. 1 second. I'm gonna step away from the table. I'm going to go up to my bardic companion who's playing in the inn. I'm gonna whisper to him that we need a fucking love song for these two. And I'm gonna say, I'll play backup. Let's fucking go.
sure. And you had a good competition. I think you lost that one, right?
Yeah.
And
Only
so
just though.
there-
Only just.
There's no hard feelings, and he's like, all right, yeah. And so he agrees with your attempt. So you can go ahead and make a perform check with your bard friend providing you advantage because he's helping.
Oh, thank God for the advantage.
Yeah, and so Ray and the bard that he dueled previously do a pretty good job of like projecting like romantic music
So
into the
it's like-
atmosphere.
Just some shitty little song about how he's been thinking about her all this time and he's got to profess his love and
Yeah, it's a fucking Disney
she's had it
song.
in the back of her mind and she's been waiting for him to profess his love. And then
Yeah,
now
yada
is
yada
the
yada
time.
yada, kiss the girl. No, it's definitely just kiss the girl from The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, go for that. Yeah.
No, her name is Angeli. It's definitely this song.
Which song?
Put it in Marcus posting.
Yes. Perfect. Love that movie.
I still have not seen that movie. Nor
Oh, so good.
I actually haven't seen this song
I've
either.
seen a lot of
Oh.
Disney movies, but
Guys, that's one of the. You gotta watch that movie. We're
I mean,
gonna have a night where we
It
watch
sounds
that movie
it
together.
sounds good. But yeah, so like Ray is filling the space with music, and Kragor is stumbling over himself, and Angeles is laughing, and seems pretty good spirited about the whole thing.
I'm sure there's a clapping chant in there somewhere from the whole bar, just going.
And then
asking
you've
them to
got
dance on the spot, you know.
They've lit their
Oh,
torches
no.
and swaying side to side.
Kragor's definitely not doing that.
At least,
But,
I mean,
The
Esmeralda
people in the
definitely
bar
would.
are.
Sure, but she's in the middle of something. But yeah, like she kind of like gives you a look, Lucina, and she's just like, "Is your friend always this extra?"
Yes. Yes, he is. But it keeps things entertaining.
She's like, "Yes, I can imagine it would." Meanwhile, for all of you to notice, perhaps, sitting in the corner of the bar, kind of tapping his foot along with the song, and sipping a cup of tea while Ray, you try to make the most dramatic display out of this that you possibly can.
Plus ultra,
You
thank
see-
you very much.
You see everyone's favorite devil just enjoying the ambiance and kind of eyeing the both of you.
Oh shit.
And, you know, she kind of, like, waits. Like, I think her and Kragor probably do, like, exchange a few more words and like, while the song is playing, they, like, talk through a few things. And, like, Lucina, you get to be there as they kind of, like, she encourages him to come out of his shell, and he's able to, like, say a little bit more, and I think the best we probably get in this moment is that, like, you know, he takes her hand and, like, kisses her on the knuckle or whatever, and she makes a show of, like, you know, fake swooning like a lady should. And it seems you've both gotten yourselves off of the hook of this being like an actual date between, you know, or being a double date, and this is now just Kragor and Angeles on a date, and you happen to be here.
Yes.
But there is a moment, you know, towards the end of the song where she kind of like lifts her hand with the kind of like jangly like jewelry on her bracelets or whatever, and kind of like motions for you to come back over, Ray, and she's just like, "We can't leave your reading unfinished, dear."
And I'll just thank my bardic friend for all his help. And I'm just like, oh yeah, no, thank you. That was fun. That was great. Let's do that again sometime. Definitely.
Yeah, and he nods to you and just kind of gives you the like. He also takes a bow, and he's just like, "Anytime you would like to perform, my friend, I shall be here."
And I walk back to the table and I'm like, sorry. You know, I take a swig. It's like, sometimes I just like to have everyone happy. It's just my thing. We're in a bar. It shouldn't be awkward. Everyone should just let out what they're saying, how they feel, and have a good time. And I'm glad looking at the smiles on her face and like Kragor's semi-smile, like a slash embarrassment.
Yeah, Kragor's like on cloud 9 at this point, you know.
I'm just like, I just couldn't help myself. You guys are clearly meant to be something more.
yeah, and she's like, "Oh, believe me, I understand. I asked your friend here if you always overdo it to this degree, but frankly, you do remind me of my own people a little bit. When the caravan would stop, it was always music and wine and song and dance."
They give a small bow at the table, just like, oh, anytime, my lady. Anyway, back to
Sit. Yeah, and she's like,
better
"Now
question is,
sit."
what is Siani doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe at this point it's like been long enough that perhaps like Bosing Ball, you're coming from one direction on the street, and Siani and Rhea are coming from the other direction outside the Elf Song Tavern, and you both kind of arrive at roughly the same time, and you hear this kind of like body like love song music coming from inside, and it's clearly Ray singing.
Can't take this guy anywhere. He's fucking always got to be the center of attention. God. Barn.
I can't leave for an hour.
Ah.
Yeah, and like Rhea's just like, Rhea's not paying attention to that part of it, and she's like waving, and she's like, "Oh, Master Ba!"
Oh, hi, Rhea. How
Oh,
you
hi,
doing?
Rhea. Fuck you. Bye.
Like, do you want to go in and get a drink and like see what the fuck he's up to? Because it's always entertaining, at the least.
Yeah, she like Rhea nods and kind of like looks at Siani for a moment, and she's like, "Yeah, I think we learned something interesting, but I'll let Siani probably understands what's going on better, so I'll let her explain. But I think we need to talk to the others."
Yeah, we definitely do. Like, some shit's going to be going down soon.
Oh?
Yeah, we'll go through it later. Like, can hold off until we get the group together.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so you
Sounds
head
like we
inside.
both got some stories to tell.
Yeah, you step in then, kind of like right as like Ray is wrapping up the song, as I've already kind of like previously narrated, and you see like Lucina and Ray sitting at a table with big beefcake man and like
Muscles make strong huge, you know.
yeah, muscles mixed strong huge, and then like the lovely fortune teller who is kind of like waving, and you get that line of her just being like, "Now sit so I can finish your reading."
But of course.
Visible confusion, like, fuck it, I'm gonna drink. This is too much.
Yeah, and so Ray is just kind of like, "Oh, hey, there they are," and she waves and she's like, "Ray, Lucina."
Like, no, come here, leave them alone. They're going to do something. Fucking book her with the staff. Like, come on, to the bar with you. Fucking hell.
She's like, "But they're right over there." And she's
Boss just like,
Come on.
listen, this is part of adventure training, okay? Drink!
There's Nibirius at the bar too,
yes, Nibirius
which is gonna
sitting in a
raise an
shadowy.
eyebrow from.
Nibirius is sitting in a shadowy corner by himself, which
Oh,
Siani has
corner.
obviously noted. Yeah.
I've not. I'm just trying to get fucking Rhea away from Ray and shit. Cause clearly something's going down there. Like, fucking leave them alone. Fucking get.
Yeah, and Nibirius sees that you've noticed him, Siani, as Ba is like dragging Rhea towards the bar, and he kind of just like lifts his teacup to you in like acknowledgement that, you know, he sees that you see, and just gives a little nod to you.
She will return the nod, and I'm sure how to deal with that because I don't think she wants to introduce Rhea to him at all.
No,
That's
but
a bad
Rhea
idea.
is conveniently being occupied by your halfling companion, so
Teaching her how to fucking drink. That's what I'm doing.
you could. It might be safe to approach him in this moment if you wished, but
I guess if Rhea is being dragged off, it would be a time for her to quietly head over there and say, did not expect to see you here.
yes, and he kind of like takes another sip of his tea, and he's like, "Yes, well, I didn't expect to find myself here either, but." And he kind of casts his gaze towards the table and the tarot reading that's going on, and he regards it for a moment and then looks back at you and he says, "It seems as though someone might be changing the rules."
I see. Is this a good or a bad thing?
He kind of sniffs the air for a moment as though he's thinking about it, and he's like, at least for the moment, I think it's a neutral position.
I guess we'll have to see what comes of that.
Yes. We will have to see what comes.
As long as it's
Would you
not
like to
more
sit?
rats. Fuck.
She will pause, like, Tiberius is not someone she trusts all that much, still. But then she doesn't really trust anyone, per se.
Sure.
But everyone seems to be very occupied, so eventually she will nod and take a seat.
Yeah, and like as you're sitting down, it's just like from some like sleight of hand, like out of a corner of your eye you weren't paying attention to, there is like a saucer with like a teacup sitting on it there, just like ready for you with a bit of steam rising off of it, and he's just like, "Have you learned anything interesting in your journeys today?"
You could say that. I received a prophecy.
Oh. And he kind of like leans forward and puts an elbow on the table and his chin in his palm, and he looks at you thoughtfully over the top of his red tinted glasses so you get the clear view of those goat eyes, and he's just like, care to enlighten me?
She will pause for a moment as if she's like picking her words and be like, I was going to wait until the group was together because I think they need to hear about it as well.
Fair enough, then. I just like to show interest in my clients whenever possible. It keeps the relationship open and amicable.
I suppose. I'm not sure how I became a client in the first place, though.
Well, you did trust me enough to step through that portal.
I did. And I'm still not sure why.
I believe it's
Instinct.
called destiny, but instinct also works.
Hmm.
Who knows? Perhaps your deity was moving in you in that moment.
It's
Giggity?
entirely possible.
I mean, if you
Wow.
want to make it
Wow,
gross,
wow.
I guess.
Jesus Christ, talking about the details.
Fuck's sake. Uh,
She will also pick up the cup of tea and say thank you for the tea.
yes, of course. Again, certain services provided gratis in order to make sure that you're happy with our arrangements.
To which she will make a non-committal. This is the most she's ever really spoken to him.
Right, and
And
I
she's,
think he realizes that as well, right? So he's kind of smiling at you.
Yeah, she's very carefully neutral, guarded even.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and so we cut back over then to Ba and Rhea at the bar, and she's just like still kind of protesting, and she's just like, I don't understand why we're not. If we've learned something important, we should tell the others right now. Why are we waiting?
Because he might be figuring out something right now. Like he's clearly in the middle of something with that woman and whatnot.
She's like, oh, like it didn't even occur to her that Ray might actually be doing
Wow.
something important.
Wow. Okay.
And she's like, oh, I guess everybody does have the ability to investigate in their own way, huh? And if he's with
Yeah.
Lucina, then he's probably not wasting time.
Definitely not.
She's like, oh, okay. And she like sits down on the bar stool like next to you, and she's like, I guess I'll wait.
I'll try to get her to take a drink and teach her to unwind and enjoy these moments of rest. From the
Yeah.
chaos that is her
Can we,
life right now.
Marcus, can you do some sort of role for her alcoholic tolerance?
Oh, for Rhea?
Oh god.
Like, I was
Yes,
actually thinking about
please.
giving her a fucking drinking contest to try and drink her under the table.
Constitution.
Yeah, I mean, give me a persuasion check, Shanks.
Oh,
See how.
Fucking yes!
yeah,
Oh my god!
Get
Okay.
wrecked, Rhea!
Oh no.
She's probably about to. Constitution saving throw.
She's a fucking kid. I bet she doesn't have much alcohol
I
tolerance.
mean, she's a fucking paladin. She's probably got better constitution.
Oh, look at that! No, you know what this means, though? This means that, like, you talk her into drinking and drinking and drinking, and she's, like, keeping up with you, but just because she's able to stay upright doesn't mean she knows how to fucking behave.
Yeah. Oh my god, I
Just
said I
love
was
that
going
Bo
to
got
corrupt this
another
paladin.
Oh no.
I said I was going to fucking corrupt this paladin, and it's finally happening. Like, get fucking drunk, but it's like, yeah, let's go.
Right, so we've got Siani in the corner talking to Nibirius. We've got Bo Sing Ba and Rhea like at the bar, like and Rhea's like drinking, like throwing him back, like trying to keep up with Ba. Like I imagine you're like antagonizing her as
Yeah,
you always
yeah.
do, and so she's still like drinking. And at some point in this, like Mom, you hear like Rhea's slurring voice, where she's just like, "Where the fuck are you putting it all?"
And that's my cue to go step in, because why are you getting my precious little angel baby drunk? Shame on you.
I'm just trying to teach her how to enjoy the quiet and rest in between the chaos that is life. Lucina.
Yeah, and yeah, Rhea turns and she's just like, ah, Lucina, it's so good to see you. We learned about a magic tree.
That's nice, Rhea. I think you should probably stop drinking, because you're going up against an alcoholic right now and you have no chance of winning.
I'm not an alcoholic. Alcoholics go to meetings.
No, quitters go to meetings. You are a functioning alcoholic.
And
Point.
Rhea's
I'll
just
take
like, yeah, but the wine tastes really good.
that. It doesn't taste good on the way back up, let me tell you.
Happy adult grape juice.
Yeah.
Can I? Yeah, and she's just like reaching for the adult sippy cup, right? Like,
No. I will take it away from her.
she's like, oh, come on.
Firstly, I'll grab it and finish it because, like,
Yes, Bo can finish it. I will not stop him.
She's like, oh.
I am going to get her water and something to eat.
Right. So yeah, you present her with water and I don't know, like
And
bread,
So much
And a-
bread. Just an
and a
entire
big-
loaf.
a big hunk of meat or whatever, and she's just like, uh, you're so much nicer than the others.
Yes, dear, I know. That's why everybody calls me Mom. Don't worry. I'll take care of you, as I'm tearing off chunks of bread and feeding it to
I don't
her.
know. I like the idea of you just sitting there going, yeah, you know how you unhinged your jaw for the alcohol? Bottoms up! Throwing the fucking loaf down her throat.
No, she will choke to death. I like our precious little meat shield.
Seeing as Lucina's got Rhea busy, I'm going to head over to Siani and sit down and give her the rest of the bottle of wine to share and just have a laugh about how drunk Rhea is.
Yeah.
And obviously at some point you're gonna be like, oh, demon.
Yeah,
Oh, no, I've
you,
not noticed him yet. I'm fucking shit.
you
So
come
while-
over. Oh, you go ahead.
She's
I'm
literally
sorry.
gonna just turn to it and say, "Did you get the paladin drunk?"
Yeah, I did. Fucking great.
Yeah. You hear the familiar sound of Nibirius's laughter, and he's just like, oh dear.
Ah!
Paladin
You always do that
drunk.
to me. God damn it.
Back off, you spooky bitch.
Fuck off, you spooky bastard.
Yes, Nibirius has joined us.
He
I will
laughs
say very
again.
matter-of-factly.
He laughs again, and he bows to you without standing up, and he's like, Master Ball?
Creepy bastard, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing quite well, actually. I find this whole evening to be quite entertaining.
Right? It's great. Can I offer you a drink? Do you want some wine?
Oh no, I've already got what I need, but thank you for the offer.
Okay.
Is Ray still at the table with Angela?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ray's still at the table with Angeles, and like, I assume that, like,
That's probably happening around that.
the reading has probably been proceeding apace, like, up to the point that, like, Lucina, like, gets up and walks away, right? So, let's see here. I left off on the 5th card, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we come back to that part of it, and she pulls like the 6th card, which is placed to the left of the initial card, and she indicates and she says, "This represents future influences, things that will come to pass soon and likely change your path for better or worse." And she flips the card to reveal the Tower, which is a tall structure perched atop a mountain in defiance of nature. It is being struck by lightning and set ablaze as a reward for the hubris of the tower's builder. She indicates this card speaks to sudden change, revelation, or an awakening to the truth. It is likely, then, that things are not as you understand them to be. Something hides just beneath the surface, waiting for its moment to strike.
And I'll just give a nod and agree, like, yeah, we're in Baldur's Gate. No surprise there.
She chuckles and just shakes her head and she's like, "Oh no, I think it's far deeper than the location, but you could play it as you like." And she pulls the next card, and she's like, "This is the first of the 4 river cards laid out to the side. This is the deeper reading, and this card in particular represents you, the petitioner, and your present position." And she flips the card, and it's the Fool, which depicts a young man poised at the edge of a cliff, looking off into the universe, unaware of what they are about to tumble down into. And she laughs seeing it, and kind of gives you this mirthful smile. And she just shakes her head, and she's like, "Ah, yes, representing a free spirit, spontaneity, but also the beginnings of a journey. Likely your true path has yet to even actually begin."
He just gives a nod and like agreement, like, ah, yeah. Well, I did only just start this job, so who knows what's
Yeah.
in store.
She flips the second card in the river, which she indicates represents the petitioner's potential influence over people or events. Truths that maybe you are not even aware of yet. And as she's flipping this card, I think this is the point where Lucina kind of like gets up and like wanders off to go take care of like very drunk Rhea. And
Which
as she
I-
flips the Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I am going to be guiding Rhea back to my seat so that I can finish watching the reading and keep an eye on her at the same time.
Yeah, so you come back over basically kind of like towards the middle or end of this, right? As she flips the Knight of Wands, which depicts a hero astride a rampant horse with fiery red plumage erupting from their helmet and a sprouting wand clasped in their hand. This card, she says, represents energy, passion, inspired action, a need for adventure or impulsiveness. And she kind of smiles and she's like, "Well, this makes sense considering literally everything that's happened today. Seems you have the ability to drive your fellows onward when things become too difficult. Perhaps this is going to be important in the near future." And she looks to you, Lucina, when she says that, just to confirm that her understanding is correct, right?
Given that her attention is split between trying to listen to the reading and also force feeding Rhea food so she can sober up, she will nod in agreement, though she doesn't fully know what she's agreeing with.
Yeah, and she just kind of chuckles and continues, and she flips the 9th card, which is the 3rd in the river, and she indicates this card speaks to your inner emotions, fears, hopes for the future, secret desires. And she reveals that it is the 5 of Cups, which depicts a man in a long black cloak who looks down on 3 cups that have been knocked over, symbolic of past failures and disappointments. Behind him stand 2 other cups representing future opportunities and potential, but because he is so fixated on his losses,
I need
he
to BRB real
misses
quick.
the opportunities ahead. Of course. Boo.
Probably a cat knocking things over.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, I know. I knew you guys had met a fortune teller, so I set you all up for this one.
No, this
It's
is great,
very
man.
interesting. I like it.
Yeah.
I just want. I'm very interested in knowing whether this fortune teller is actively changing our fates, which is why Nibirius is here.
I am also wondering that, but I just have to say, serious props to you for giving a legit tarot reading. Like, this is
course.
super in depth, and I love it.
I don't like to do things halfway. If I'm gonna
Listen,
do it.
If you're gonna do it, you have to full ass it. All right.
Yeah.
You know how
You need the
last
whole
week
ass.
you were talking about it, like if somebody deserves inspiration, like take some fucking inspiration for yourself, man. You've
Yeah,
yeah.
for real.
What am I gonna
What
use
is
it
the-
on? Making your
Like-
lives harder?
Yeah.
Yeah, what does
exactly.
DM inspiration mean? It's like, DM decides you roll a 1 now.
No, like DM decides you roll at disadvantage, like just
Oh
because.
my god.
Like,
It's
Just
so funny.
because.
That's why. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just like, oh, this gives me a chance to like, because here's the thing too, right? It's all super vague, but like,
Foreshadowing and
it's
heat.
also foreshadowing, and it's also
Yeah.
maybe true. And also, Tiberius did just say that it seems like someone's changing the rules.
Yeah.
So if we cut over to Tiberius and me, I'm just sitting there trying to explain what the orb of dragon breath is, like really drunkenly, and like
Yeah,
keep
and
falling over on the table and like, I fucking love you, man.
he's like, no, I think I understand exactly what you want.
And then I tell him again and go through the detailed explanation I had last time.
Yeah, and he's got like a napkin, and he's produced like a feather pin or something, and he's like drawing like the diagram as you explain it, and he's like, right, like this, right, and then it explodes.
Yeah. That's fucking yeah. It's great, man. I loved it. It's fucking great.
Ridiculous.
Sorry.
The back to back nat 20s don't get fucking Rhea drunk was like 10 out of 10.
What did I miss? Sorry, the cat
Nothing.
knocked over something.
Nothing.
We knew it was the cat. No, like we cut back to Bosing Ba explaining to fucking Nibirius what an orb of dragon breath looks like. He's like, look, man, I need more of this.
A certain retard cat kicked my cider over.
Oh,
no.
We were right though.
Oh.
Yeah, but yeah. So ninth card, fears, secret desires, inner emotions, yada yada yada. She flips the card over, and it's the 5 of cups, and it's the long map, like the pessimism, etc. And she's like, this card speaks to your regrets, I suppose, failures, disappointments, creeping pessimism. Perhaps somewhere deep down, you fear that you've already failed. Or perhaps maybe you suspect that destiny has chosen the wrong group of heroes? And she looks at you, Ray, specifically, and then, like, flicks her gaze towards Lucina and the very drunk Rhea.
I just give a small look of intrigue of, perhaps. I mean, I have had my fair share of regrets, just like anyone else.
Of course. And she grabs the final card from the deck, and she places it at the end of the river. And it, like, she very, like, theatrically kind of, like, lays it out, and she's like, this card speaks to the final result.
As soon as she says that, I'm going to use prestidigitation and do like a big glowy gold symbol. Even fancier than the red one, just like whoosh across the table.
Yeah. And she's like, no, that's fair. Do not let him near her. Oh my god.
He's like the bad uncle that always brings over firecrackers and gives them to your kids.
Like Mexican
Right.
fireworks, like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and she's like, this
Yeah,
represents
yeah.
what you can hope to gain in your journey with everything that has gone before as a foundation, and everything that is soon to be. And she flips the card face up, and it's Judgment, which is a depiction of the courts of the divine, aided by Kelemvor, sorting the dead into their appropriate afterlives. She looks at it for a moment, and she says, in its upright form, this card represents a correct ending to things, some appropriate results under the laws of the universe. But I suppose it could also easily represent absolution, or perhaps the potential for rebirth. It seems that perhaps, if you can overcome your self-doubt, then maybe you really could make a change, break the cycle, or reunite old lost friends.
All I can think of is the rats right now.
Yes. I shall find your
Rebirth,
friends.
bringing together new friends.
I will find your new friends, Rathworm.
Nibirius is here.
Hi.
Listen, this card is about me.
Hi ho, rat children, away!
Do you need to steal that card too?
No, that one's not as important. But I will get down and go over to where everyone else is by Nibirius after hearing that.
Yeah, you've kind of like scrambled down out of the rafters, and Nibirius kind of like looks up over his shoulder while still sitting in his chair, and he's like, I was wondering when you were going to come down and join us.
I have many things we should discuss.
Well, we can certainly step into my office and discuss those things if you would like.
I will, but I didn't mean to interrupt, Ray. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. And so yeah, you've got the whole reading laid out in front of you, which kind of again like speaks to a religious group in your future that you need to overcome, and the potential of like, you know, creating an appropriate ending to what's going on, and the tragedy that has befallen others already. And she just kind of like spreads her hands to either side, like indicating the full spread, and she just kind of looks at the two of you, and she's like, I trust this has been enlightening?
I give a
Yes, it has been.
small clap of bravo. Bravo.
Yes, well, I do tend to tell my best fortunes for people who have the gravity of destiny on their side.
Sorry.
And meanwhile, you know, our boy Kragor is just like really intently just watching the whole thing, right? Just like
Bright lights!
Infatuated.
he's been mesmerized by the whole display, you know, and he's clearly still like deeply infatuated with the fortune teller, but now he kind of like he looks at the spread, and he's heard everything that she said too, and he kind of like looks at you, Ray, and you, Lucina. Not so much Rhea, because Ray is still like listing and kind of fighting with you, being like, please, I don't need any more bread. And he's just like lifts a big, like a meaty sausage finger and like points at both of you, and he's like, so you two are heroes then?
I just give a no. We're just journalists.
Yeah.
Kind of. He's like, well, the cards don't agree.
Well, see, there may be a little bit of confusion with that, because besides being a journalist, I am also a cleric of Kelimvor, so there could be some confusion going on there with, you know, fate and the cards. As I'm trying to convince him that no, we're not heroes, it's just...
More vigilantes.
So no,
Yeah,
we're
give me
heroes
a
of the people with the writing that we give.
give me that persuasion check again. With advantage, I guess.
Oh,
No,
sweet.
Roll again anyway. Let's see what you get.
Yeah, okay. And he's like, oh, right. And then like it's like he's thinking about something, like while you know, Angeli's like packing up her cards, and he's like, oh, Kalimor, right, the dead guy.
The god of the dead. I would
No,
say
no,
he's
no, the
actually
guy-
dead.
The guy in the alley.
Yeah.
Yes.
The reason we started this.
You said you wanted to ask me about the guy in the alley, and then I asked you to dinner, and then this whole thing happened, and he kind of like reaches over and kind of like lightly puts his arm around or like goes to put his arm around Angelise's like shoulder, and she lets him and kind of like leans against him for a moment, and he's just like, that the building that he stands outside of is it's a warehouse or a storage space. The Portier family uses it to store party decorations.
Oh, just party decorations,
Well, I mean, the Duke, he's the second most, like, powerful Duke in the city, and he does a lot of, benefits for different guilds and charitable causes and the like. So he has his own like, I don't know, like the streamers and floats and stuff, that he uses for setting up different events when he needs to have decorations on hand, and they store them in that warehouse because it's fairly centrally located, because he doesn't always throw his parties in the upper city, unlike most nobles.
Interesting. Did you happen to see anybody out of place in that alley when that guard was killed?
No, I didn't. Well, I didn't see him killed. I just saw the blood, and then you were all talking about someone turning up dead, and I figured the two were probably connected. I did see a couple of people sneak in though, and I don't know what they were doing in there. I didn't want to get involved because I'd already, and he makes like the kind of like bottle tipping motion of like, I've already had a bit too much to drink.
So you saw a few people break into Duke Portier's warehouse then?
Yeah, I figured they were probably just like stealing party favors or something, because there's just like a bunch of random stuff in there. I used to hang out with a couple of the people that would watch the place, and I asked what was in there, and they let me look around, and there's like bunting and flags, and I don't know, he's got a statue that he can just wheel out whenever he needs it.
Interesting. Well, you have been very helpful, and I very much appreciate you coming here, and I'm glad it went so well for you and Esmeralda. I'm calling her Esmeralda because I can never remember.
That's fine.
Angeles.
Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah, and like his face like just turns bright red again, and he's just like, no, 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 no. I should definitely be thanking you. If anybody deserves any thanks, because and he just kind of like it's self-evident, right? Like. But yeah, so your friends are obviously off to the side, talking to Tiberius, and Angeles is just like, perhaps we should be going, just kind of like looking at Kragor, because she's like, I think our friends have some things they need to discuss, and it seems as though our evening invitation doesn't really apply anymore, does it? And he's just kind of like, oh, yeah, no, I guess not. I'm sorry, I guess. Kind of like he didn't mean to necessarily like use you to get the thing he actually wanted.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'm so happy for you. Now you two run off and have fun tonight. With a wink.
Right, and she just kind of like packs up her cards and like winks at you, Ray, and she's like, if you need anything else, anything at all, you know where to find me. And then she takes Kragor's hand and just like leads him out of the bar.
I give her another.
And
I give
Ray,
her
I mean-
another bow as she's leaving. Like, and if you ever need some pyrotechnics to show up your fortune telling, don't be afraid to give me a call.
Right. Yeah, and she laughs and she's just like, of course. And meanwhile, Rhea's just like sitting next to you, Lucina, and she's just like, who are they?
Don't worry about it, dear. Drink more water.
And she just kind of like, like blub blub, like big mug of water to her lips, and she's just like, where'd everybody else go?
Oh, they're over here. How about we relocate? We have some things to discuss as a group.
This works
I
in our
will
favor
kind of
because
pick
she's
her
drunk
up
and
and-
like we can play off Tiberius
the
as being a dream.
Before she
Yeah.
takes Ray over to Nibirius' table, Sayada's
Yeah.
going to intercept that and say quietly to Lucina, maybe we should see her to bed instead. She looks like she needs it.
Yes, however, she also needs to be supervised while she's laying down so that she doesn't choke to death on her own vomit. So for now, I think it would be safe to keep her here because she's not going to remember any of this.
I'm just sitting at
I
the table
don't
shaking
want
the
to
bottle.
bargain on that.
I'm just sitting at the table shaking the bottle going, do you want any more, Rhea?
Yeah,
I'll just
and
like,
Rhea just kind of like,
I'll just nudge.
Start-
Yeah, sorry. On you go.
yeah, she starts to reach for the bottle.
I just give Siani a little nudge. It's like, worst case scenario.
He's dead, Jim.
Telling you.
Oh, sorry, my computer playing up. I was saying, just nudge Siani and just be like, worst case scenario, we just let her drink more. It was all a dream.
Yes, because that's really going to help her.
I hate to agree to this, but I think it won't hurt to have her drink some more so that we can supervise her and she still won't remember anything.
What he's talking about.
Or
Oh, right. Right. Nibirius. Ah, yes, that was my plan all along. Definitely meant that. What?
Or
did we get a scroll of sleep?
No.
you had one at one point,
Did
but I
we?
think
I think
you
we
used
used it. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a shame.
Hold on, let me see what scrolls I have, because I have a few of them. No, I
I
do not have
don't
a
think
scroll.
she'd have any problem sleeping.
I have an idea.
Okay.
So I come to the table, and I see Nibirius is there, and I see everyone gathered around. I'm like, oh, I see where this is going. And so I get Rhea, and I'm like, Rhea, holy shit, look! And I'm gonna use dancing lights to just sort of dash around away from Nibirius so we can slip away.
We're just gonna leave her drunk in the fucking tavern. That sounds like a terrible idea, even for me. Like,
No, we were going to take her up to the rooms and let her sleep it off.
Oh, okay.
see, he wasn't thinking that. Fuck. He was just going,
I thought we just slip away because time and space is like very
What?
different in Nibirius's place.
Is it going to be safe to leave her unsupervised, though, in this state?
She's our meat shield. She'll be fine.
You could always
How
She's
try.
just going to
times?
sleep.
She's already been kidnapped once. She can't defend herself in this state, not to mention she isn't thinking clearly, so who knows what she might do. Do you really want Rhea drunk gallivanting around Baldur's Gate?
Do you really want a paladin in a demon's office?
Also, no.
I was
Neutral
going to say,
drug.
you are in the elf song. You do know that this place has a half ogre bouncer and a couple of like animated suits of armor if it comes to it. Like, and I believe you had a fairly decent conversation with the owner of the tavern previously, Lucina. You might be able to like convince one of the wait staff to look after her.
Okay, I will try and do that then.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna make you roll for it. I think you can flag down like one of the waitresses and you know she comes over and just you know kind of generally asks you what you need and I'm assuming in a very like mom way you're just like what like could you keep my dear friend out of trouble or some such.
I'm terribly sorry to put this imposition on you, but could you please watch Rhea for me for just a short while? I'm afraid we have to go take care of something, and I'm worried to leave her alone in this state.
Yeah, and she blinks a couple of times. She's just like, oh, certainly. Making sure that drunks don't hurt themselves is just it's part of the service we offer here. After all, we do cater mostly to tourists. You know, as though that were a like drunken people is a self-evident part of tourism.
I mean, it kind of is, so.
Yeah. And so she kind of like, come on, honey, let's get you a sandwich. And she kind of like leads Rhea off to like a different like quieter corner of the tavern, so that you guys can like step over to Nibirius's table, and he's just kind of like, so the gang's all here then.
I just just give a smile, and I'm sure you enjoyed the performance.
Yes, was quite a nice rendition of that particular song. I liked it better when it was written 100 years ago, though.
Oh, shot through the heart, sir.
Sure. Like humble brag. But
And he just kind of chuckles, and he's like, "So then, shall we retire to a more convenient conversation room?"
Yes.
he said,
Yeah.
Sammy.
And so he stands and he motions to the wall, which, like, you know, the section of the wall he is indicating is like exterior wall of the building, right? If there was a door here, it should open onto the street. And there is a doorway standing there. It is that same like black like ebony wood door with like the address numbers on it. And he steps over to it and he opens the door and indicates for you to step inside, and through the door frame you can see his octagonal shaped office somewhere in hell. And he's just like, "After you."
And just give a small bow and casually stroll in.
I will follow behind
Follow?
Ray and make myself comfortable on whatever couch or chair or whatever's closest.
Yeah, again, always the plush, like, comfortable sitting room furniture.
And I will also pull out my lovely magical tea set and start making tea for everybody.
Wonderful. So yeah, he lets everyone get in, get settled, closes the door behind you. We get the parting shot, like, in the tavern of the door closing, and then the door frame just like fades out of existence or whatever. And then he walks into the room and like takes a seat in whatever chair is left, and he's just like, "So, sounds like everyone's had some enlightening revelations today. Would we like to discuss with one another, or would we like to do business first?"
I look at Veer, just clearly incredibly agitated. It's like, I believe our companion here definitely has, as one of the rats sort of pokes out of his armor, squeaking. It's like, business.
Well then, how can I help you, dear Vert?
Well, have you ever noticed how useful rats can be? People hate rats. I hate people. It's perfect. And they respond so well to instruction. And I'll ring a bell and like have the rats like swarm up on one side, and then I'll like ring the other bell and have the rats like shift over to the other side.
It's like, no, I can't say as I've ever thought about it previously, but your demonstration makes your point clear.
I just keep moving the rats like closer and closer to Ray. Just like this writhing, roiling mound of rats.
I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
Oh, that's a match made in hell if I've ever seen one.
I would like to explore the opportunities that these creatures bring. More in depth. Would you happen to know any... I don't know how to describe it. Does he know any tactical uses for
Disciplines?
rats? Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, discipline. I've always been good with animals, and these wonderful creatures have taken to me and I to them.
Well, I believe your current discipline, and like he holds up like his white gloved hands to either side and like makes like air quotes when he says it, right? Like is focused on seeking out portals and extraplanar routes. Correct?
Correct. It's what I was trained as a boy, but a lot of good it's done me so far, you see. Whereas these creatures have been more than helpful.
Yes, well, perhaps if it suits your needs, I could unmake you and remold the time that you have wasted
Discomfort.
on a discipline that has not helped you thus far. I could replace that with something more suiting your interests.
I give an audible facepalm next to Siani.
Yeah, that sounds kind of creepy, doesn't it?
Just like, oh no.
Unmake me.
Make you again with something a bit more fiendish.
It's like, this
That's her forehead
should
sore.
we-
She's just pinching the bridge of her nose.
it's like, should we be worried that a devil is about to unmake our Leshen friend?
I am
look
not
point
a
at me.
Leshen. A snake am I? Why don't you see how snake-like I can be?
Oh my
I
god.
hate this so much.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh my lord.
Oh my stars.
my stars. Oh my stars and garters. But no. He just kind of like, you know, he looks at you and he's like, don't get so hung up on the unmaking part. I don't intend to abscond with your soul. It's just the memories you have aren't useful to you anymore. I'll have to replace them with something more appropriate.
I'll ask the rats what they think. I'll ask
I mean,
the rats if they want me to be their god.
Yeah, fuck yeah, do it.
I mean, I'm sure the rats would be perfectly content with
It's like,
you being their leader
Rat
because
Friend
you
is
feed
going to
them.
be our new leader. All hail Rat Friend!
Right?
God,
Yeah.
God.
Rat God. New rat god.
I'm so down.
Yes.
Do it then, demon.
No.
Devil.
Devil.
Yeah,
Thank
sorry,
you.
devil. I would listen. As a fiend hunter, I would know that.
Right? No.
Well, Veer would know that. I, being a dumb boy, would not know that.
Yeah.
Look at this
so
dummy thick boy.
he kind of like he's been standing before you as he's been saying this. He motions for you to stand, and he's like, "Stand up, please, if you would."
I'm already standing.
Yeah, and
I'm standing at full attention right now.
I'm
he
sorry.
places a
I hate to interrupt, but all I can picture in my head in this scene is Sphere just like getting all ready, and fucking Liberius just going ha 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 ha. Alrighty then.
Perfect. Yes.
right, and he places one hand on your shoulder.
Oh, please tell me I just dissolve into a pile of rats.
No, he places one hand on your shoulder, and he places like two fingers of the other hand like against your forehead, and he looks like directly into your eyes, and he's like, focus on your training. And
Okay.
he waits until he thinks your mind is like adequately centered, and then he like twists his fingers so that he's like clutching the end of like a string, and he just starts pulling away from your forehead, and you just like the rest of you just see this like silver string start coming out of like Vert's forehead, just like pulling away and like spooling in Nibirius's hand, and then he just shoves you back into your chair, and you fall down as this twine like fishing line just like unspools out of your mind, and you just go completely unconscious.
Nah, fuck, I killed him. No.
And he's just left with this mass of like silver string that he's like threading between his fingers and basically like doing like cat's cradle with. And he
At this
just
point,
kind of
Cyane's probably on her feet, unsure whether she should be reaching for a weapon or not.
I'm wondering
Yeah.
what they put in the drink.
and he kind of like looks over at you as you stand up and he's like, "Don't worry, I'm just doing a bit of restructuring." And he just starts like threading the strings like back and forth between his fingers, and he's just like going through it until he finds a particular part, and you see him like flex the string, like it's got a bit more like weight or mass, and you hear something like almost like a popping sound. And like Amaya, give me an image from Vert's past that like would explain how you learned the discipline that you previously had.
Sure. So his family was into spooky occult shit, right? So, but we're also like the weakest of the shifters, right? Because
Yeah.
you've got the beast hides and the long tooths and the swift strides that are all based on predatory animals, and then you've got us, the wild hunt, who are based on prey animals, right?
Yeah.
So the training for finding portals was probably more for escaping things than for like traveling, you know what I mean? So it was
Yeah.
probably like, okay, you're being chased by a predator. Here's how you find a portal that they can't see that you can escape into. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and so we see like young Vert being like led through like the woods or whatever, like being taught like escape tactics and like learning about like portals and portal keys and like all of this like very technical information about planar travel, and like it's projected in like an image like above Nibirius's hands as he kind of like snaps the string and like lets the memory out, and he like lifts one of his hands and he just kind of like sticks his fingertip into the silvery surface of like the memory image and starts swirling it around like he was stirring water, and the vision like slowly changes from what you were seeing playing on repeat to like a different image of like Vert and like Vert's mother or whatever, and his mother is like, "Even the lowliest creatures of the forest can be useful to you if you know how to control them." And it becomes like your mom like teaching you how to like gather together like rodents and other woodland animals to like make them into like an impromptu like fighting force.
Yes.
And like he repeats this like a couple of times as he goes through and like finds different like important moments in your past and then like rewrites them. And then when he's done, he's like, "Yes, I think this tapestry will do nicely." And he steps over to you and he like grabs your jaw in such a way as to force like Vert's mouth open, and then just like shoves the thread back into your mouth. At which point like you wake up and like your subclass has changed. Like
Yeah.
I can set it so that you can like rebuild your character up to this level.
Already did it.
Cool. But also all of your memories have changed to reflect the new reality that like Nibirius has written for you.
I love it.
You
I
feeling
don't give a
alright
fuck
there?
about them memories.
You feeling alright there? You kind of passed out.
Can I like cock my head at like a really weird angle and look at him?
Ah,
I feel wonderful.
I feel
Yeah.
sick.
Cyane's
like-
still standing there looking super concerned.
At this point, Baird, I will say you don't remember a reality where you didn't have rat friends and you couldn't control the swarm, right?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna make a mage hand out of rats and just wave at Bo.
No.
Yeah.
I'll be
Meanwhile, like Nibirius is like stepping away, and you see he's got these like discs made out of like crystal or whatever, like between his fingers, kind of like magical Polaroids that like clearly have the memories that he just took from there, like contained inside of them, and he is just slipping them into like his suit coat to just like hide them away.
Nice.
Like so, that's dealt with. Is there anything else I can help you all with?
How much would it be for those orbs I was asking about?
Well, depends on how much you're looking to spend, Master Ball. Or I guess I should say how much it is that you're hoping to get. Because I could make a package deal if you were to buy in bulk. Which is really me asking, like, what do you want? Because, like, he'll give you, like, an amount of them for a soul coin if you could get one out of, like, Vert's pocket.
Oh, she doesn't
That
know how
pocket
he's
full of
popped out.
rats.
Fuck. I know, right? Like, fuck.
My pockets are in fact full of rats.
Ah, fuck you.
I also am
have
going
my
to
soul coin, Papa?
I also am going to assume that now that you are a Swarmkeeper, you are much better at, like, hiding your rat friends when you don't want them to be obviously displayed, which
Yeah.
was not true before.
Can we?
Yeah,
Can
so
we just
the
on you go.
I was just gonna say the third level ability for Swarmkeeper is that all of my rats occupy my space. All of my swarm occupies my space, so they are hidden on my person.
Yeah.
He's just made out of rats now.
Or bugs, or snakes,
No.
or pixies. For some
Or-
reason, like you can make them pixies
Yeah.
or
Why not?
birds.
We don't have enough
Yeah.
batteries in the Forgotten Realms for those birds.
Yeah. That's a good one, Cass.
Too many birds. How much damage did those orbs do? Just offhand?
The ones you put in here, it was 5d6.
Okay. Yeah, so that's about in line. So that's about in line with the bomb in the DMG, which those are like it's slightly better than the bomb. So I would say they're probably about like 200 gold pieces each.
Oh. Hey, Vert, can I get one of them soul coins off you, good friend, good buddy, good pal?
No,
Mm.
they're mine.
Fuck.
Yeah, but he's like I can sell them at 200 gold pieces each, but if you had something else that you could trade, like a sufficiently powerful magical item or one of your friend's coins, I might be able to give you, I don't know, let's say a box of 10.
Oof.
On an out of character level, half of it's because Virt really likes his soul coins and he wants to keep them. The other half is because he is terrified of the destruction that Lucina will bring down upon him.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
that's right.
mom definitely has some power and influence in this sphere.
Yes.
Sorry, I spaced out for a minute. Why am I raining down death and destruction on you?
If
Because
I gave Bo a soul coin.
Yeah, Nibirius is offering to sell Bo a box of 10 grenades for a soul coin.
What the fuck?
Don't worry about it.
Why would you do that? That is no.
I
No.
wouldn't. I'm not. It's just hypothetical. It wasn't me. It was him.
Bo, you do not get grenades. I am worried enough about your little dragon breath ball thingy.
That's what he's
Right.
getting.
That's
I
why
mean,
I'm funny.
He's
Probably
essentially
like 10
trying
of
to
them.
buy 10 more of those for a soul coin.
Bo,
No.
are you
Yes?
going to be safe and logical in your use of this, or are you going to
When
be
have I ever
Ray?
done anything irresponsible?
I was just gonna say, Lucina, have you met Bossing Ball?
You met Bo?
No. I do not agree to this. This is a terrible idea. You will end up killing yourself and potentially other people, and I can only do so much to keep you alive.
Ray has a small thought in the back of his mind. It's like, yeah, but that moonbeam though.
Look, that moonbeam was the best.
It was fucking amazing.
All pro moonbeam.
I'm looking back for the fucking party light to see if there's anything I can trade them, but I don't think there is.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise, like I
Last
said, it's like
slot well used.
200 gold
Like,
pieces each. Like,
Yeah,
you could
I
buy a
could buy, like,
couple.
one for myself, like the gold I've got on me just now.
Yeah. I mean, there's always future opportunities,
Yeah.
right? Like,
I'll take one off him just now. And
sure. Yeah,
I'll mark myself as poor.
he reaches into his suit like coat and pulls it out and like holds it like between his fingertips and his thumb and just kind of like offers it to you and then takes the gold from you and disappears it to wherever he sends it, and he's just like, a pleasure doing business as always.
Yes. Excellent. That'll do me. I'm broke.
Yeah. And he kind of sits back in his chair then, and he's just like, so, does anybody else have any shopping or acquisitions they'd like to make, or would you simply like to use the room to discuss the recent goings on away from prying ears?
I do think we should sit and discuss all the things that we've found out because it's been a day.
Yeah. And
I've got some stuff that needs to get dealt with probably sooner rather than later.
yeah, Nibirius like produces like from somewhere some like danishes or something to place
Ooh.
on the table, and he's just like, don't mind me, I'll just keep quiet over here. And he just kind of like sits back to listen.
I'm going to hand him a cup of tea in thanks because safe place to talk. This is great.
Yeah.
Thank you, dear, as always.
So, I guess I'll start like with an assassination plot that I found out on. It sounded like Duke Portier they were talking about, like a
Yep.
noble that were going to give a speech, and just like tell them that I also found a little bit of information about the Rat King who we were hunting down before as well.
Yeah, you heard.
Found where he stashed it, where you put your fucking requests into him at least.
Yeah, you heard that there was a noble who was going to give like some speech about like refugee relief or something, and that like word had gone out that he was like, somebody was trying to have him assassinated, and specifically like Ribbons, who is known to be one of the most dangerous assassins in Baldur's Gate, has taken the contract. And then, yeah, you also learned that there's a particular place in the docks ward where you can go and you can leave like an offering, and you can leave like your desired target. And if the Rat King accepts the offering, then the target you want killed will die. And then, as long as you go back within the week and you leave like an appropriate payment, like, you're good. And that's pretty much how like the guy who killed that guard outside of that warehouse.
Yeah, I was gonna say that also like the guard like didn't know it was in the warehouse, but the guy says it was probably to hide some shady shit that was going on in there, and that's why the guard got killed outside it.
Yep.
So that's everything I found out in my little jaunt.
Useful details all around.
Yeah, to expound on Bo's story, I'll just tell them all the evidence I found of who this false Rat King is.
Love it.
And just give Lucina a look and say, "It's not me. I didn't kill the guard."
I know you, Barrett. I never suspected you.
And basically that he had been set up there for quite some time,
Yeah.
but that he disappeared into the sewers, which is just it seems to me to be another link to these nobles that run the sewers.
Yeah.
And
Also, would you give me a nature check, Vert, with
Nature?
advantage? With advantage now because of your newfound reality.
Sure. Nice.
Good for you. So, remember how I said it seemed like there were claw marks that had like marked up the wall where someone clearly like climbed up to get into that sniper's perch?
Mhm.
And that sniper's perch had kind of a rubbish nest like vibe about it.
Mhm.
Like it occurs to you, and you don't know why it didn't occur to you before, because it should have, based off of your entire experience throughout your life. Like what you were looking at is all evidence of like a man-sized rat.
Oh no.
It appeared based on my uh based on my investigation, it seems like it should be a rat the size of a person. But that's not right. Rats aren't the size of people.
But you know what
Or,
is the
or,
size of people?
or
Giant
are
rats.
they? Dire
No.
rats.
No, I
A
was going to say,
swarm of dire rats.
also it occurs to you it could be a were-rat.
A
My god,
were-rat.
if you get bit off a were rat, I will literally fucking kill you.
Bit! I'm gonna subjugate him!
Oh man, no, fuck. This is just going to end badly for me. Like, fuck.
Did you hear that? That is the sound of bad times. For Bo, not us. We'll be laughing.
Yes. So yes, it appears it could be a were-rat. I don't have any proficiency in tracking were-rats. Unless they're fiends.
No, admittedly they are
Beasts, right?
monstrosities, I think.
Monstrosities, okay.
Or they're like dual type. I think they're like humanoid and monstrosity.
Okay.
But yeah, so that is also like interesting and useful information. That gives you slightly more like detail on the Rat King specifically, which like with those bits added in, it probably makes a bit more sense how he was able to like control like swarms of rats and why he probably sticks to the sewers rather than like operates in more I don't know, like
When does a were-rat transform? Like werewolves transform at the full moon. Do were-rats just like
So-
transform when they see a wheel of cheese?
Every flush of the toilet.
so
Yeah.
in 5e, or at least in the way I run 5e, like lycanthropy, like you are involuntarily transformed in the light of the full moon, but like were creatures that have mastery over their form or were born that way can transform freely at any time.
Like me. I'm a were-deer.
Kind of, yeah. But like this is like his like their transformation is like both simultaneously like more violent and more complete, but also like less inherent than yours, right? Because it's like technically sourced from a magical disease rather than something that's
Okay.
true about you from a physical form.
Gotcha.
So
They're wannabes.
yeah, kinda, yeah,
They're cursed players.
yeah, something like that.
Sorry, that's playa with an A.
Cursed
Yeah.
players.
Cursed
Yeah.
playa. They playin'.
So yeah, we've got that detail. And then yeah, the rest of you have learned a bit as well. Who would like to contribute their information to the party pool next?
I guess I'll pull that piece of bark that I was given out of my pack, as I had it carefully wrapped up,
Yeah.
and explain my encounter in the grove with the druid.
Ah, yes. I think as you unroll that image, right, which as I said is that angelic being like trying to escape from hellfire, reaching for this sword, we actually do see like Nibirius like shows a bit of interest as he kind of like leans forward in his chair and like peers at the image like somewhat intently.
Noting the interest, Tony will turn her attention to Beers and ask, this seems to interest you. What do you make of it?
He kind of like regards it for a moment longer, and he leans back in his chair and like lifts his teacup and sips like he's thinking about an appropriate answer. And there's a point where he opens his mouth and it seems like maybe he wants to say something, and then he just like can't, right? And realizing that like things aren't as different as he had hoped they were. He just kind of shakes his head and he motions towards Vert. And he's like, it's just a memory, I suppose. Something that reminds me of a time when someone I used to know just needed to dream a little bigger. Not unlike your friend here.
What?
Whatever.
Nothing. Nothing, Vert, it's fine.
So confused.
Don't hurt yourself in your confusion. Fuck.
Confused enough to give me a soul coin?
I guess, the other person I'd ask about that, considering she's the bigger authority figure on religion, would be ask Lucina what she thinks of it.
If you want to make a history or religion check, Lucina, you could try to determine some information based off of the details that are depicted in the image, no matter how lean, right?
Sure. You said I could make a history or religion?
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, I know nothing.
You want to use my inspiration to reroll it?
Yeah, you know what? I should have given you inspiration for getting the two lovebirds together, so like have it to use it if you would like.
Oh, thank you.
Same for you, Ray. Like you guys went out of your way to make that shit happen.
I still know nothing.
69.
Poor Lucina.
Nice.
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 The Shabba's out in fourth tonight, man. Fuck.
Well, so it clearly so I can tell you this, right? It clearly depicts a solar, which is a class of angel, right? It is an angel that is clearly like being held in bondage, and like it depicts like evidence of like a fiery pit, which may itself be referential to hell, but like it's difficult to say beyond that, like whether the image is like intending to depict like the angel being kept away from like their weapon, or if like the angel is reaching towards the weapon as like a means to free themselves is kind of unclear. But it does like evoke a certain like hellish energy, right? Like clearly this normally considered to be an unquestioning source of like lawful goodness is somehow being held in restriction, and like hell is related to this in some way, but like it's like beyond that you just don't quite have a clear enough idea of what this prophecy is trying to tell you. But like also like just again, like Nibirius seems clearly interested in this and like tried to say something, and I think it was probably obvious to everyone that like they couldn't, so they just like talked around it.
Can I ask him, like, if you can't speak to yourself, like, if we brought somebody that was connected to these cultists to you, could you maybe give us more information through them. Say what you can't say, basically. If you get what I'm coming from.
Yeah, he thinks about it, and he's just like,
I don't remember if we've asked them this before, but every time we've tried to question them, they always just bust into flames. It's really fucking inconvenient, to be honest.
yeah, and he kind of like he's like my.
Best friendo.
I'm trying to think of how
My
he,
best friend.
I'm trying to think of how he would put this, because he's a much like smarter and more charismatic person than I am, I think. Um, he's just kind of like, do you understand how exactly contracts work,
No.
Master Ball?
I usually skip out after they give me the money.
Right. Well, in the mortal world, you write a contract, and there are orders, provisions, etc., etc. Things that need to be fulfilled, and results that are intended to be gained by honoring the contract. But nothing aside from your human authorities, which you seem to be quite good at running away from, enforce the clauses of the contract. In my reality, when one is bound by a contract, our master, and he indicates like the portrait on the wall, which is different than the one you've seen in the past, and it's like this very handsome looking male, like a devil, with kind of like a Van Dyke like mustache and beard combo and like slicked back hair, who's holding like a scepter that has like a giant ruby on the end of it, which again is Asmodeus. um Our master enforces our contracts in such a way that if they are broken, we are destroyed, assuming we are even capable of breaking them at all.
So ironclad is what you're saying.
M-
Got you.
My particular contract. And like he's like very carefully testing every word to make sure that he's allowed to say it as he's saying them. Prevents me from directly working against the powers above me.
Right. I don't get it, but I'm sure one of these guys will.
More or less, he's not saying that he won't tell us. It's that he can't.
Oh, okay.
Literally cannot.
Right. Cool.
From
Okay.
what I understand.
But the way he's
As-
phrasing
So-
it,
So
I
he
think,
can't like make moves against the other players in this game that we're all apparently a part of.
yes, exactly. He can't directly do anything, no matter how much he wants to.
Right. So
But he can put other people in position to make moves for him.
right, so these motherfuckers are playing chess and we're the pieces and cool. Pretty much.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what he's getting at.
So it'd be useless to like take somebody back to him and try and get answers at them that way because he's not allowed to like interrupt with other
Yeah,
people's pieces and shit.
not really. Like until the rules of the game change significantly or something like big happens, he can only like help you by facilitating your ability to help him.
All right.
Hmm. Yes, being destroyed sounds unpleasant.
Yeah. Life as a devil is always complicated. You have to make sure that you read all that fine print, do you know?
No.
Yeah, of course you
I-
will.
I don't want to know.
I know, right? I'm
I
ignorant by
don't
choice at this point.
entirely, but I have an inkling.
Yeah, and then
As the tail swishes.
you have an inkling, yeah. And then yeah, is there anything else you guys want to discuss while you have the room?
Mm.
Or-
One sec, sorry.
While he's eating, personally, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea for us to maybe ask about objects or things that we could use to find people. You know what I mean?
Oh shit! Another thing we should probably get is see if he can hook us up with like a backpack of stuff that we can put in, like a bag of holding of sorts, you know, like something to put all our shit that we keep coming across and
A
scavenging.
bag of storing.
Yeah, or like a bottomless handbag, you know,
That would be useful to have.
like
Something of the sort.
Mom's purse. If he
yeah,
can give us
Yes.
mom's purse.
like
Yes,
I'm
hun.
quite happy with it getting like you can ask however you want it because you'll be the one in charge, I'm guessing.
What's up, hun?
It can be like my big red purse, a bottomless
my-
pit. You'll never know what you'll find in there, but
Oh
you'll
my
find what you
God.
need.
A
Listen,
big, deep, horrible purse full of just all kinds of stuff.
Might be
listen.
something useful. Might be the bag man. Fuck, who knows?
Jesus Christ.
Here comes Amaya's sleep paralysis
Oh
demon.
no.
Thanks, I hate it. Please no. Anyway, Cass, what were you saying?
I was gonna ask him. I was gonna show him my short bow and see if there's anything he can do to snazz it up a bit.
Yes, well, so bag of holding, pretty common magic item. Like 500 gold pieces, I think, is the going rate for that particular item. Pretty sure I looked this up the other day for a different game.
We should have like that in part of it for the last time we spent shit.
Yeah.
I think anyway. We didn't spend it all at the fucking alchemist getting potions, did we?
I don't
We
think
don't-
so.
I have 115 on me.
I've got
Our black card is empty.
right.
Yeah,
I've got
but
34 gold I can chip in.
I think you had
I
that
have
weird.
nothing.
Like, what did you? There's stuff from the dragon cult like
Oh,
warehouse
we've
that
got
I
that
don't.
fucking statue that we've somehow been lugging about with. Rhea's been carrying that for us.
No, it's my statue.
Not anymore. We need to fucking we need to sacrifice for the group, man.
Yeah, there was a couple
My
of.
statue.
Yeah, 2-foot tall statuette of a black dragon made from actual black dragon scales and claws with ruby eyes and diamond teeth. It is perched atop a heap of treasure consisting of actual golden gems. The value to a collector is 4,800 gold pieces.
My black dragon statue.
That BB big black dragon statue.
My big black dragon. It's a bad dragon.
Fuck
Also-
off.
Also,
Oh.
like going over this, all of this should be a sack of assorted low-value gems worth 120 gold pieces, several dragon-themed talismans and amulets carved from bone, soapstone, or ivory. Most are probably worthless, but 4 have a very unique flair. These are worth 50, 60, 70, and 100 gold pieces respectively to a buyer. A silver ring set with a single large blue stone over which is laid the silhouette of a silver dragon in flight, worth 150 gold pieces each. A garish gold earring set decorated with actual dragon claws, 20 gold pieces for the set. Like,
Let's sell that fucking dragon statue and get him to identify this shit to see if there's anything good, you know?
Mm.
My dragon statue.
like
your
all
dragon
I
statue,
will
bitch.
tell you all
got
of
a
that
rat's form.
is mundane gold piece treasure.
Alright, okay.
Oh, there's nothing special about the
Well-
black dragon statue.
Let's
Yeah,
let's
like,
keep the black
it's-
dragon
it's-
statue then. And we
I
can sell
mean-
the other shit.
Here's the thing. There is something special about the statue, but it is also just gold piece treasure. Like, it's not magic.
Yeah.
But it's special.
Like, fine, you can carry it.
How much would it give me for my steel frowning skull mask that says "Treat yourself"?
I don't know. It's a large holy symbol, so like 25 gold pieces.
All right, that's a start. I also have 2 bottles of demonic ichor that I'm much more likely to.
Oh, he has plenty of
Alright.
that. He can
I'm
walk
also on
outside of his. He can walk outside of that office or outside of his office and collect it off the ground if he needs more.
I've also got human guts.
Why do you... Nope. Never mind. I'm not asking. I don't want to know.
Gut makes great bowstrings.
Human
honest,
gut
you could do
though.
Gut is gut.
The assorted gems with the amulets carved in bone, soapstone, and ivory, and that's basically over halfway there for 500 gold.
Yeah. Okay. So it's 500 gold pieces for the bag of holding. The short bow to Cass's question.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Like making a weapon +1 is 500 gold pieces. Like giving a weapon like a more particular enchantment is like more expensive. Like he could.
Can I? Well, I rolled persuasion there because I was gonna try and convince Veer to just give up one of the coins.
Oh, that's not me. You have to persuade.
Oh,
I am against that.
I'm not if I get at least 5 grand out of it.
I
I'm
can.
sure Lucine is too.
Yeah, Lucina won't let us give them up.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it's like, admittedly, you kind of almost have to do business with him on the matter of selling the soul stones or soul coins without Mom being there, because Mom seems like decidedly against trading souls for power.
imagine.
Yeah, that's a big problem for Mom.
Can't imagine why.
Okay. All right. I got an idea. Can I ask him about the statue, because I think it's important.
Sure.
Right?
Okay. So do
Like-
you just like you get the statue out from like
Yes.
whatever like big sack you've been carrying it around in, and you set it on the
Yes.
table.
Yes.
And I think Nibirius just like, you see like one eyebrow shoot up
Yeah.
as he looks at it, and he's just like, why on earth do you have something from Tiamat's hoard?
Oh shit.
Wonderful question. Perhaps you could tell me more about it, and it could become part of your hoard in exchange for the
5 dragon orbs.
in exchange for the services that Mr. Ray has requested. It seems to be very valuable, but I don't know much about it.
Yeah, and he kind of like gets up from the chair and you know, like walks over to one of like the windows, like because it's like, as I described it previously, it's like his room is like octagonally shaped, and it's like, if you imagine like on the cardinal directions, it's like the door you come in is to the south, to the north is kind of like the fireplace mantle with a portrait above it that changes as needed, and then his desk is in front of it, and then to the east and west are like bookshelves and like display cases, and then the anti-cardinals are always like sets of like double like windows that like are like double paned that you can like open in the middle and kind of like push outward and look out on like different parts of the multiverse as needed. And he motions you over to one of the windows, and he kind of like indicates out past the pane of glass, and you can see the kind of like like rust-colored, like blasted plains of Avernus that like the blood-red like river Styx like snakes through, and like in the distance you can see this like large hill with like a cave entrance in it that looks like a dragon's head with its mouth open, and you would descend into the mouth of the dragon's head to like go into this cave, and there's this weird like black metal like jaggedy looking tower next to it that kind of like just soars up into the Avernian sky, and he's like, Tiamat makes her lair on the first layer of hell, overseen by Archon the Cruel's tower. Her hoard, her personal belongings, are kept inside of this cave. The fact
Wait a
that
minute.
you...
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I meant wait a minute, but that was more to myself.
Oh yeah, no, he's kind of like... He sees that you're like thinking about something, but when you don't like continue voicing like what your thought, he's just like, the fact that you have something that clearly bears the Lady of Dragons' influence would indicate to me that someone has been in the vault. Or as you mortals might say, someone's been caught with their hand in the cookie jar.
And to that, I will say, Archon. This Archon. And I'll give him the dragon cultist correspondence.
Yes, I believe the cruel is his epithet.
Oh shit.
He is her most senior lieutenant, and I believe the officiator of her cult. I don't think you'll want to get involved with him, though.
He's talking about Tiamat as Archon's general or whatever, lieutenant or
Yeah.
whatever you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Arcan the Cruel above board is a character that shows up in Critical Role, and
Yeah, he's great.
is and legitimately is written into this module. I'm not even throwing this in for Shanks's benefit. He and also like Devarius is just like, I doubt you'll want to get tangled up in this because well,
He's
Arcan
great.
has certain matters at hand, as it were.
I understood that reference. None of you guys understand that reference, I'm sure. But I understand that reference. The point I'm trying to make is that in the Dragon Cultist correspondence, it seems like Archon is declaring war against Zariel, which might be something Nibirius is interested in, and I'd be willing to give him that information, for a price.
Yeah.
And maybe a piece of... Oh my god.
Yeah, and
I think we should let Ray get his stuff first.
he kind of indicates he turns back to the statue and he's like, yes, I suppose I could theoretically take this and use it as a bargaining chip in other dealings, but you could similarly do the same if you were to happen upon Tiamat cultists, so I suppose I would have to make the exchange worth your time, yes?
You understand.
And like I said, like it is assessed value at like 4,800 gold pieces or whatever, right? Like you could easily cut the 500 gold pieces for the bag of holding out of that and still have gold pieces left over for like four or five orbs of dragon breath and still something for Ray.
Well,
everybody else gets shit first because I bought one of them for myself.
Yeah.
So like,
I guess what I'm trying to do is take a page out of Ray's book and persuade him that this statue plus this letter basically Archon the Cruel saying he's declaring war against Zariel could be a potent political tool to try and get him to give us more money.
Sure. Yeah, give me a persuasion check.
God.
I guess. Like, I'll give you
Okay.
advantage because you have good leverage. Like, your idea isn't bad, and I want to reward that. So, 17.
Oh, that
Yeah,
minus
okay.
one though. Fuck.
Um.
You go.
I mean, like, sure, I'll give you like a 20% markup, I guess.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So that's like an extra like 960 or so. So like
69.
almost.
Make it 69.69. Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Uh so yeah, like what do you want on your bow, Ray? Like what's
A bow of
Just
nothing.
something to make it look less plain, and if that makes it +1, then it works.
I mean, you have a lot of money to throw around on this, admittedly. Like we could revisit the glamored armor situation if you wanted with this amount of money, I think even. But like you did get your chain shirt, I believe.
Yes, I did. Can you give me 2 minutes? I want to look into something real quick.
Okay.
Sure.
And I mean, if anybody else, Lucina or Siani wants stuff,
Aye. Like,
we got the dough now, girls.
yeah. Like,
I
fucking
mean,
treat
you-
Sugar Daddy
yourself.
Beard's here.
Here's the thing. I will say this. You could opt to go for the more expensive Heward's Handy Haversack instead of the Bag of Holding, which the Heward's Handy Haversack costs 2,000 gold pieces, but it is a backpack with a central pouch and 2 side pouches, each of which is an extra dimensional space. Each side pouch can hold 20 pounds of material, and the large central pouch can hold 80 pounds of material. The backpack is always 5 pounds regardless of its contents. Placing an object in the haversack follows the normal rules for interacting with objects. Retrieving an item from the haversack requires you to use an action, but when you reach into the haversack for a specific item, that item will always be on top.
I mean, that sounds pretty nice to have.
Yeah, it does.
It holds less than the Bag of Holding, but it always gives you the thing that you need, basically.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the differences.
Okay, so while you're looking up that, Marcus,
Uh-huh.
you know how I have the sword that gives me the 2 spells, right?
Yeah.
Can I have this bow give me Thunderclap?
Oh, you want Thunderwave or
Oh, I was thinking Thunderclap, the cantrip. But
oh, the cantrip. I keep forgetting that Thunderclap is a cantrip. What does that do exactly?
let me check Thunderwave actually. Hang on.
It's a first level spell, I think.
Underwave is great.
Oh no, we know.
Thunderwave!
Thunderwave! Each
Okay, yeah,
creature-
So to make it more understandable, because even I, in one of our games, we have a haversack and a bag of holding, and I never really understood the difference. But the difference is that rules as written, you can use the haversack in combat. You can't use a bag of holding in combat.
Is that the difference? Like, it's always on top, so whenever you're going for
yes.
something, it's
Yeah,
right there.
so
Yes.
so
you get it with
basically,
action.
if you stuffed all your healing potions into a bag of holding, like you wouldn't have access to them in combat because you'd have to fucking root around in the bag of holding until you find them. If you stuffed all of your healing potions into a Heward's Handy Haversack and you reach into the sack thinking, I need a healing potion, that will be the first thing that your hand like goes to, which makes it just a single action to retrieve it, which means it's viable to do in combat.
That's fucking OP, man. But
Yeah.
I'd say it's down to you guys. Like, I've put my fucking what I want down. I want 5 grenades.
Well, what do Lucina and Siani want?
Yeah, like you guys go first, and we'll see what we've got left over.
Where is my Google Drive when I need it?
What else is I gotta say, man? Like, How hard would it be to get a pair of boots with Misty Step on them so I can fucking teleport? 'Cause that'd be fucking awesome, man. I reckon that'd be expensive though. That's like a second level spell or some shit.
Yeah, I don't think there's a good analog to that item off the top of my head. Oh, well, that's the Cloak of the Montbank, isn't it? Yeah, the Cloak of the Mountebank, I think, is,
Ignore this real quick. Oh no, it's fine.
This cape smells faintly of brimstone. While wearing it, you can use it to cast Dimension Door as an action. This property of the cape can't be used again until the next day at dawn. When you disappear, you leave behind a cloud of smoke, and you appear in a similar cloud of smoke at your destination. The smoke lightly obscures the space you left and the space you appear in, and it dissipates at the end of your next turn. A light or stronger wind will disperse this smoke.
Fucking hell.
That is a 5,000 gold piece item.
Yeah, nah, that's down the line, down the line. I'll steal a coin off there at some point and I'll get that.
Yeah, like that, like for what it's worth, like the Cloak of the Mountebank, like things that are like 500 or 5,000 gold pieces, stuff like that, like the portable hole is also 5,000 gold pieces. Like that is the realm of like what a coin is theoretically worth if it were possible for you to get the coins and spend them without mom being there to tell you no.
Yeah, fair. I'm all about trying that. It's gonna be great.
Let me see here. I'm looking at my other magic item, like books that aren't like specifically the player's handbook, just to see if there's anything.
Alternatively, if you can't get anything, Marcus, what if we could get ourselves, because we've been fighting a lot of fiends, what if we could get some form of regenerative arrows?
Oh, like just like a bunch of silver arrows for
Every long rest gives us X amount.
Oh, sure.
That's not a bad idea. Above the board, we did discuss this, that like ammunition is going to be scarce, so the idea of regen is not a bad idea.
Yeah, like once you get to hell, like ammunition will actually be hard to come by, because like I'm kind of letting it slide while you're in Baldur's Gate, because you're in a city and you can just go buy arrows whenever you want. That doesn't help Vert as much, but it's okay for those of you that have like bows and stuff for sure. Here's what I think I'll do. Cause it's like after 5 my time at this point, so normally we would be wrapping up at this point anyway. I will give you guys a week to put your heads together and figure out exactly like what you would really like ideally want, and like I'll do some reading and see if I can't find some like interesting magic items to like propose to you guys as well, and we can figure out like what the value like proposition of like trading in this statue is, right? Because I want, like, it's a big deal item. I want you guys to like get the most value out of it, and I don't feel like me just trying to like come up with some shit on the spot, like Siani's like vine staff or whatever, which while admittedly cool, like I don't think it's gonna equal the value of the thing that you're trading in, right? So I don't want to just like rush through this. So does that sound good to everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely like Siani, Lucina, and like Ray if he gets his bow what he wants. Like they should get decked because like I already got fucking grenades and stuff, and I got my dagger the last time we were here.
Yeah, and I've already got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Thing
Yeah.
I would be most interested in is something to increase my armor or resistances.
Yeah, so like just like think about whatever. You can post it in the Marcus posting channel or whatever. I'll look at it. Not like I said, I'll go through some. I have a bunch of like PDFs that have just random magic items in them that I haven't like exhaustively explored. So like I'm sure I can find something cool and figure out what it should cost, and we can have this like we can conclude this discussion next time and figure it out. And like what I will probably do is what I did like originally, right, where Nibirius will be just like, here's the like you pay for it, I'll make sure that it shows up when you need it, like
Yeah.
somewhere in the world. Thumbs up,
Aye.
and
'Cause
we'll
that's
work.
pretty cool. Like above boards. I quite like that. It's like, oh man, I wish I had those. Oh wait, they're there. Like,
Yeah, we'll work it out. And then meanwhile, in the other like end of session, like you guys did like have a really good like role playing session this time, and you did actually like legitimately, I realized, have uncovered some stuff. And now that you've like put all of your various evidence together, I think I'll go ahead and give you guys like 200 experience points for kind of like uncovering this like assassination conspiracy that's going on in the city. Just so that you gain like a little bit of XP.
yeah.
And then I feel like I guess here's the question I will propose to the group. Technically speaking, like Lucina didn't have the opportunity to perform last rites or do like necessary like funereal like things this session, but she did very deliberately keep you from using people's souls as currency.
Listen, Mom always gets piety.
Right. I was gonna say, like that seems like it should be piety to me, right?
No, I'm no argument here.
Right.
I
Okay.
was
So
against it too.
yeah. So definitely piety for Lucina. I'm gonna give Vert piety for
Rat King.
his weird plans and also like nearly being foiled in his weird plans and yet somehow still getting the bad luck card off of the table.
Yeah, that okay. There. I also want to make many copies of that particular card.
Oh, the Wheel of
Oh
Fortune.
shit. You've got a calling card now? Is that how this is going?
Exactly.
Oh my god,
Oh
it's the
my
Phantom
God,
Thieves.
yes.
Like Ray obviously improved someone's life, so that's piety. What were you gonna say?
I would say double piety for Ray since he hooked up
Two people.
what's her face and yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Like I
Yeah.
agree.
Motherfucker, I got my level
Agreed.
25 piety skill.
And he also
Sing a song with the bard.
yes, thank you. I am glad
Yeah.
you understood what I was going for. 'Cause
I
my
got you,
brain is
girl.
moved up. Thank you.
Precisely. Let's see here.
I also want to say real quick that we have stopped like 2 murderers. We've uncovered like 3 cult things, but the most important thing we've done to date is hook those 2 up. I had so much fun with you guys hooking them up.
Yeah.
So
I was so
to
invested when I was just
clarify,
sitting in the headlines, like, oh my god, this is great.
to clarify for those who don't know, my level 25 trait, I have hypnotic pattern and it requires no components.
Hypnotic pattern is ballin'.
I can do it
Also-
once every long rest.
Also, Cass,
Mm.
fucking Phantasmal Force. You need it.
Hmm.
Yeah, you should get that when you can. Let's see here. Bossing Ba, like, I definitely feel like you constantly just keep testing fate. So, like, you're lucky that Mom didn't like smack your mouth out the back of your head for basically turning poor Rhea into an alcoholic. So, I'll give you the piety point, and then obviously, Siani, you just continue sojourning into places it's probably best you ought not go.
Yeah.
But here we are.
But you're a
So,
trooper.
we'll leave it off there,
Where
and
the
like I
wind
said,
blows.
we will figure out what value your magic items can be, like in the intervening week or whatever.
Good game.
Yeah,
Good game, guys.
good
That
times.
is awesome.
Ugh. Foreshadowing, like, whoa.
Here, have a bucket of foreshadowing and a tarot
Here.
reading. Thanks.
Here.
That's great.
Here, have all of this
Man.
foreshadowing and
I have a level 3
Nefarious.
spell before I've even got level 3 spells. That's neat.
Nice.
Yeah. You get like what? Like one a day or something?
Yeah,
Or
120 feet though. Fucking hell.
For what?
yeah. It's like one or how what is
Here,
it?
hang on,
exactly?
hang on. There you go.
Oh, hypnotic pattern. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at
It's
that
just like
shit.
out to 120 feet. You can just like fuck with people.
Okay, so you want to know the other cool thing that you can use hypnotic pattern for, and I didn't even learn this until they did it on Critical Role. You know what hypnotic pattern is amazing at?
Mm.
Identifying the range of anti-magic fields.
Ha!
Oh yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. You can
Yeah.
cast hypnotic pattern on the edge of an anti-magic field, and the pattern will show you where the anti-magic field is. Same thing with
Yeah,
fairy fire.
because it'll like it'll basically like
square
because the
straight on the
anti-magic
line.
field is like a dome or whatever, so it'll be like
Yeah.
scooped out where the magic can't
Holy
be.
shit, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Cash, you will absolutely love Phantasmal Force because if they fail the save, you can basically make them imagine it like a hallucination, but they think the hallucination is so real they take damage from it. So like I used Phantasmal Force all the time to make people walk off the edges of cliffs or to make them immobile because they thought they were trapped in a bog or something like that.
Yeah,
You know what I
Well,
mean?
this
Naruto.
definitely stops them from moving, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is a useful pickup like early in the campaign for sure.
And the other cool thing about Phantasmal Force is, unlike other charm spells, the damage they take from Phantasmal Force doesn't break the charm.
Oh, that's pretty
Yeah.
OP.
Yeah,
It's
it's like
OP as fuck.
as
As long
long
as
as
you're
they
not hitting them.
believe as long as they believe they're being repeatedly knifed by a bandit you make them believe is knifing them, like you just keep stabbing.
Stabby ribs, stab stab. Okay, I think that's us. Fuck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.